The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, on episode 234 of the Cult of Muscle, our good buddy Nathan is the co-host, and it's an incredible episode. Those guys are great, but Mr. Cotton Candy Vance, why don't you have your own fucking podcast? You're the cat's pajamas, dude. Check out that episode, but right now, check out my pajamas. Welcome to Tree Radio.
Welcome all you little zombies. You are listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 321 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is a phantasmagorical spin kick straight through the heart of pop culture, navigated by the Deadites. The Deadites are the world's greatest electroshock band. We destroy monsters, we drink booze, we win championship belts, and we also talk about mind-bending action movies.
Wow.
Horror
We do all
action
that.
movies.
We do all that and more.
So let me, right off the top, since we always get derailed right away, let me talk about what we're doing this week. Episode 321, we are going to be discussing the film Mandy from director Panos Cosmatos and starring Nicolas Cage. And then we're going to be talking to Michael Gingold. He is a horror author, writer extraordinaire. He's written for Fangoria. Yeah. He had his own zine, basically, back in the early 80s. Did you ever check that out, MZ, by any chance?
No.
I feel like a jerk. I'm drawing the blank. I think it's Scarophilia or something like that.
No. Can't
I'll
say
look
that
it
I
up.
have.
But yeah, and so he's also writing for Rue Morgue now, and now that Fangoria is back, he's going to be writing for Fangoria as well. He's consulting and writing for Fangoria, and he also has a new book out that we're going to be talking about in just a little bit. It's called Ad Nauseum. So we're going to be talking to Mike Gingold. If you're watching live, around 10:30, so that's about an hour and 15 minutes from now or so. And then we got some voicemails about, from some of our listeners, their thoughts about Mandy and maybe just some other random other thoughts. So if you're listening live, there's still an opportunity to send in some feedback. Go ahead and send it to podcast@trickortreatradio.com. Voice message, email, or if you want to tweet at us at the Deadites. And a lot of times I forget to mention this, but we're available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Stitcher, which Dynamo doesn't like anymore.
Dicks.
They changed their whole app, and he doesn't like it.
I don't want to sound like, my esteemed colleague in the world's dopest tag team, but it doesn't take a fucking lot to throw me for a loop, and I don't know what I'm listening to half the time. It just confuses me. Just go back to the old way, Stitcher. I loved you. I loved you the way you were. You didn't have to lose all that weight and get that plastic surgery.
New boyfriend.
I loved you. Yeah.
Don't go change
That's
it.
a soft spot, sir. Please.
So so Mike Gingold, I just looked it up. It was a horror review fanzine called Scaraphonalia. So I was close.
No, never read it.
Yeah, so I assume it was self-published. So I imagine it was sort of like one of those underground zine type of things.
Right.
So, but I mean, he's contributed to a bunch of books. He's written film scripts. He is a horror icon in our eyes.
He's also a Deadites worthy play on words and pun man. If his book and his fanzine are to be any indication of it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I guess because it would be like paraphernalia, right? Scaraphonalia.
Thank you. Zero.
Well, he
involved me in that. I didn't say shit.
He didn't get it, so
That was clever, Johnny. You should make your own fanzine. What's necrophilia? That's a thing, right?
Whoa, ask MZ. He knows.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's
I know all about
tablephilia?
necrophilia.
Oh wow.
When they can't say no.
Jesus.
Nice. There you go.
Jeez, you can't do that.
Oh my God.
You can't.
All I
say
did
that.
was say it. I didn't do it.
All right, Kavanaugh.
Like,
Wowzers.
I get
Bowser,
happens-
yowza.
What happens in the morgue stays in the
I
morgue.
get so close to having Donna Matrix on the show,
Yep.
and you just knock it all down.
She's leaving right now. I saw her. pull
Yeah,
up.
she just did a donut and a U-turn.
Never knew a car could do that like that.
She'll have fire trails like the Roadrunner.
It was like a Harrier jump jet. Defies physics. It's exciting.
What did you call Nathan Cotton Coy Vance Duke earlier?
Nathan Cotton Coy, Cotton Candy, Pants, Duke.
All right.
I haven't had
It
a
was
lot
something
of
like
sugar in a while, and I'm fucking mainlining sugar right now.
What are those ho-hos?
Oh my, Swiss rolls, sir.
Oh, Swiss rolls.
Food of the gods.
How many are there?
Like a 20.
Funny bones are better.
No, I don't like fake
Yeah.
peanut butter.
Oh, all right, fine.
I don't know what this fucking white stuff is. Looks like
You're gonna get your
mayonnaise,
mic
tastes like
situation worked out.
I
You're
got a
leaning forward and you're not.
I got a
hitting the mic.
TV
There
in
you
front of me.
go,
I
there
got
you
so much
go.
fucking stuff happening, John.
There you go. That's way better.
I can't. I'm afraid I'm gonna get boogers on it.
Ugh. No one else use that mic, please.
You know what's funny is I had a story of something funny that happened to me this week, but I don't know if I should tell it with perhaps new listeners.
Perhaps. Well,
Well,
as they say,
Yeah.
Mars.
Well, fuck all you guys.
Every episode can
we
be
don't.
so.
We don't have to set the clock back,
Or last episode.
but it was close.
Oh, it was close, huh?
Yeah.
Did you have to set the
Oh.
clock back on your undies?
So, no. So I'll just tell it super quick. I was running home
Could go
the other
through
day.
one layer, not
Yeah.
both.
I was
so.
running home the other day, and Raven Shadow will appreciate this.
Oh.
Well, I bought this like really cheap flashlight, but it's fucking dope because both sides light up. I look like fucking Darth Maul
Ooh.
running down the street, and a car pulled up behind me and stopped. Now, the last time that happened, someone fucking beat me so bad they turned me into a pirate, and I like it still fucked up my eye. Raven Shadow had to take me to the emergency
I
room.
remember.
Like I got fucked up really bad. Like I don't know if it was like a fucking frat prank or some sort of gang initiation thing, but like basically I was running, I got beat up. So I started getting really nervous and doing that like really animated thing you do when you start like pantomiming how you're going to defend yourself like as you're like running away. And like my flashlight, the top, all the functionality in my flashlight is in the top apparently, and the fucking top flew off, right? So it flew onto these people's property where they have like an electric fence and some fucking horses. And I didn't want to lose my fucking flashlight. So I ran and did like a fucking like a high jump. Like not even
You
like,
did a high jump?
not even fucking it wasn't very graceful. Like and fucking landed on my side, like knocked the wind out of me. The horses were all fucking bent out of shape. And then on the way fucking out, I did like a lope and like landed on
Is
my
that like
fucking
a
face.
tope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there, right? Well, Austin Aries does a lope
It's
when
the
he
one
goes through the bottom
the
rope.
bottom rope. Yeah.
the bottom two. So as I'm sitting there hurt and that car just drives by me probably laughing in hysterics for whatever they're trying to do, didn't beat me up. I got that, the bubble guts came on, right? And because I was fucking hurt, I was close to home, but I couldn't run home, right? So I'm fucking limping like Frankenstein, physically holding in my business, right? Like fucking waddling and running and hurt. Can't find the fucking keys. Get in the house, right? Throw up the toilet seat. Throw down my pants. I'm not quite sitting, right? Fucking release, right? It goes, right? I'm so
Jesus.
fucking happy because I'm standing over the toilet, but then I hear bang, and the toilet seat falls down.
Bang, bang, Feliz Navidad.
I fucking did a perfect ice cream sundae right on top of my toilet seat. It sucked.
Jesus Christ.
And then my special lady friend came home and saw me standing.
Rolling in it like that kid from the the boarding school movie.
I'm like, I'm like standing over it, looking over it,
Oh
like I'm
my
admiring
God.
my handiwork.
You probably were.
You do what Oliver does. It's not like digging up the tile to try to cover it.
I was so fucking embarrassed.
Wow.
But you were home though.
yeah. At least
yeah,
you're
it's not
home.
like you were over at someone else's house and you
Yeah,
did
But
that'd
like
be
my
bad.
special lady friend comes home, I fucking shit on the toilet. I was dirty from fucking jumping into the dirt. Like I look like the biggest fucking asshole in the history of assholes.
She'd been like, "What the hell happened here? I'm gone for 20 minutes and this happened."
And this was the highlight of your day.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, I wanted to mention this before we get too deep into the show. And they're coming up in just a few weeks. We obviously have so much going on in October. We have the Shawnee Film Festival. We have Rock and Shock. There's so much going on that we unfortunately are not going to be able to attend, but we got invited to the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival.
Hey, let's go.
Well, if you want to, you can go. But
I'm
we
not
all
going to Brooklyn all by myself. I want Raven Shadow. You come
says
with
the
me.
guy that said he would have gone to 42nd Street back in the 70s. I don't want to go to Brooklyn.
Monster Zero's afraid he's gonna run afoul Taz.
Survive if I let you. So Brooklyn Horror Film Fest is described as a badass genre film fest taking place in Brooklyn, New York, October 11th through the 18th, 2018. If you guys want to find out more about this, go to brooklynhorrorfest.com. You can see all the films that are going to be screening, buy your badges, and check out the sponsors, all that good stuff. There's, from what I can tell, a really awesome like assemblage of films. It's always hard to tell because, you know, when the festivals come out, a lot of times you haven't heard of some of these movies, right? Obviously, some of them we have, like Blood Harvest. It's like a world premiere of the new
print.
The new print, yeah.
Yeah.
So that that will be there. There's
Yeah, that's with Tiny Tim.
Oh, that movie's the fucking bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Severn is putting it out next month, man. It's
Yeah.
gonna be dope.
The European, I think Arrow cover release of that is the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen.
Right.
Man. I can't wait. I'd go to Brooklyn to see fucking Tiny Tim's a hero of mine. I have the whole discography. I have vinyl.
And speaking of which, there's going to be the Ad Nauseum book launch is going to be at the Brooklyn Horror Film Fest. So it ties in pretty nicely to our guest that we're going to have on later on the show. And there's just, I'm not going to name all the movies. There's literally like a ton of movies. So it's like, I don't know if it's going to be a new version of it, but Sleepaway Camp is playing. So there's some classics like The Burning, Funhouse.
Nice.
But there's a lot of brand new films that are just playing for the first time. There's also the New York premiere of Wolfman's Got Nards, which is the
The doc.
the doc about Monster Squad.
Yeah.
The Burning's cool to play at a New York Film Festival because if I'm not mistaken, it was like New York made, New York produced, about a New York area urban legend. Like
Yeah. So there's a lot of really cool stuff. There's something called Drinking with the Dead. I don't know if this is let's see. Looks like it's
That's a text from Raven Shadow. Yeah.
Yes.
It looks like it's I can't tell what this is. I'm not going to read the whole. It looks like it's a Dread Central thing. So yeah, so there's a lot of really cool stuff. So if you guys want to check out the full lineup, if you're anywhere near Brooklyn, you want to take a drive there and see some awesome films, just go to Brooklyn Horror Film Festival, brooklynhorrorfest.com.
I really like what Dread Central's doing right now. Like, I think that,
absolutely.
you know, like, who better than they're
Who
one
better
of-
than Canyon?
Yeah, they're one of the websites that's had their fucking ear to the ground, for many, many moons. Like, who better to be a guise of what people really want to see than them,
Yeah, I mean it's one of the go-tos, right, for horror news and stuff.
Every day, first thing I do when I wake up is go to Bloody Disgusting, go to Dread Central to steal their news stories for our website.
Free content. So if you guys are interested, like I said, you're anywhere in the area, you want to go check it out, brooklynhorrorfest.com is the website.
Is this their
give it a
first
look.
show? Because I've never heard of this one before.
I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure they had it last year. I'll look to see if I think they've been doing this for a while.
Huh.
Because I'm pretty sure we got invited last year as well.
Yeah, we did, for sure.
But is it always
Like
a
the
Rock and Shock weekend?
I think so, yeah. So it's tough when we got so much going on back here. But yeah.
It wasn't Rocket Show. I think it was this weekend last year.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Brooklyn Horror Film Fest was founded in 2016, so it is fairly new.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Because the New York Comic Con was opposite Rocket Shock last year. So maybe they were, but.
Oh, that's right, too, yeah.
And just looking at the 2016, just to show you, like, they debuted. It was actually a New York premiere. They had Beyond the Gates there. So they've had a lot of good stuff there over the years. So give them a look if you're interested in checking out a film fest. There's some pretty awesome stuff that's going to be playing there. So give it a look. See. All right. Well, let me go ahead and introduce everyone. Raven Shadow.
Yes.
You like that?
Yeah.
You gonna try something new this time?
Yeah, try something new. Yeah.
All right, because last week I don't know if that went over so well for you.
Well, I don't
Well,
know.
for me.
Yeah, I think for everyone else it went over really well for everyone else,
People,
but not
yeah.
for you.
Happy to entertain you.
Just keep yourself settled.
Why don't you just come sit on my lap?
No way.
Just come,
No way.
All right. Well, I am Johnny Wolfenstein, the pencil pusher and producer of media for Trick or Treat Radio, the Deadites, and also one of the co-hosts of a couple other shows. We have the Outside Corner Fantasy Baseball podcast and also the Five Hossman Wrestling podcast. And we just dropped a new episode, boom, on the Five Hossman just a few days ago there, Mars.
Yeah, I died,
You-
was dying
You
right
li-
on.
Yeah, you've been dying for like a week straight.
Yeah, it's fucking bad.
And so if you guys do want to check that out, we pretty much run the gamut. We talk
Yeah,
about
a
All
lot.
In. We talk about New Japan destruction in Hiroshima. We talk about Black Craft Wrestling a little bit, DDT, the campsite match. I think these guys will fucking love that match. Maybe I'll pull up a few minutes so you guys can see it. It takes place at like an outdoor campsite, and it's like like free for all. Like
Imagine like a Royal Rumble meets the WWF Hardcore 24/7 belt.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
It goes all over the campsite. You
Really?
can go anywhere in the campsite.
That's cool.
It's fucking nuts. So
that
it's it's pretty crazy. So DDT campsite, and we did a bunch of other stuff. We covered Takayamania. We covered the Naomichi Marufuji 20th anniversary show against Kenta.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun show, I thought. It was a real fun show.
Yeah. So if you want to hear our thoughts, I don't know. Not everyone is into the graps, but if you like wrestling, check out the latest episode 9 of the Five Hossman Wrestling Podcast. And one of my co-hosts on that show is the immortal gunslinger. I always mess that up. The gunsinger and slinger and lyricist for the Deadites, Dynamo Mars.
Hey, I appreciate everybody checking in to see if I feel better. I just want to let everybody know I don't. I'm still dying. Like I feel actually
headache's better?
worse. No.
No.
Did
Did you find out what's going on?
Not yet.
No.
I think it's probably because my life is slowly spiraling out of control and my body just can't handle it. But on the good note, you guys want to know who the first host of the Deadites Masquerade Extravaganza is?
First?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be
How
some.
many are there?
There's going to be some. There's going to be some.
And it's Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh,
Masquerade
sorry.
Extravaganza.
What did I call it?
The Deadites.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Well, it's not
Just get on brand, buddy.
Well, I rebranded it, so. As soon as I get that right, I will stop starting every show at the Cove by saying hello, Lucky Dog. I was. I thought Michael Ravenshadow did a really good job last time. I thought he was funny.
That means he's
so
not doing it.
So I didn't. So I didn't call him.
So it's not drinking early though.
Reminded to get up on stage.
Yeah. No, he did a real bad job.
Yeah, it was
and
not
then
good.
and then I was gonna get Monster Zero, but I was afraid he wouldn't come. And then I was.
Oh,
yeah.
he does that plenty on his
Yeah,
own.
and Johnny's real busy doing stuff. So I decided
Real
to
busy.
get a fucking luminary of the podcast world, a genius, a handsome man.
Wait, I thought you said that I wasn't doing it.
Yes.
I said a luminary, not a loony. Ladies and gentlemen, the first host of the 2018 Trick or Treat Radio Masquerade Extravaganza,
Is
the leader of the OTC Club, one of the directors of Survival of the Film Freaks, Bill by Force.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
It's going to be good. Making his return to hosting. He did
Yeah,
the
couple years ago.
2016 birthday,
Nice.
20th birthday anniversary celebration of Doom. So I'm pretty excited. But that's not all. I got more in the next few weeks. Who's it going to be?
Whoa, there's more?
Yeah, there's more.
And if you order now,
Could be. I don't know. Could be anybody.
it
Could be Monster
It
Zero.
literally could be anybody.
Could be Shane Black.
It could be Shane Black. It could be Nicolas Cage.
Could be Nicolas Cage. Could be Cunt Smasher.
Could be Cunt Smash, sure. Could be Christopher Lee.
Could be not Christopher
Oh
Lee.
shit! I wish. It could. No, never mind.
I know.
We can go on all night.
Could be Fire Ant.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be Orange Cassidy too, maybe.
Yeah. I'll give it one hint. It is another return.
Oh, returner.
Yeah.
So it's a zombie.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. No guesses.
Cool.
So it was somebody from the.
It's the Cheddar Goblin.
This is the cheddar. That's. I want to make an NCW now just so there can be a
So
team of the Cheddar Goblin
And
and the
Dr. Worm.
dangerously aroused Goblin.
Oh, okay.
The dormitory goblins.
I'm thinking about a cheddar goblin tattoo, actually.
I'm thinking
Just
about.
as
50%
so I can say
more.
I have one,
50%
you know?
more cheese.
Yeah, just to say I can have.
What the hell's a
just to
cheddar
have
goblin?
Oh,
Did you
my
watch? You
fucking
didn't watch
Watch
the
the
movie?
movie.
God.
Oh yeah, I did.
No, you did
No, you
not.
didn't.
You would know the fucking Cheddar Goblin, you asshole.
Well, I took an
The
edible.
rest of us been talking about it all day.
Yeah.
No, I took an edible.
You took an edible.
I did.
Then the
Yeah.
Cheddar Goblin should have been more fucking in your face.
You
Well,
didn't take that suppository I gave you by
Oh
accident.
shit! No, it didn't work.
He left a very indelible impression on all of us.
It happened at like such a big moment too. Like I can't believe you don't fucking remember the
Maybe
Cheddar
refresh.
Goblin. You don't need a refresh. It's
Well,
the
yeah.
fucking Cheddar
Here,
Goblin.
here's your refresh.
Dump it on
What
his,
am I gonna do with
dump
that?
it on his head.
It's called refresh.
Dump it on his head.
Show me a picture.
I should bang him over the head with it, then dump it on his head.
I will go fuck myself.
All right. Well, I want to get moving because we're gonna talk to Michael Gingold in about an hour. I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about this movie. So no more intros. He's leering at me. We also have the vulgar guru of horror, star of Blood Pig's Fetus, and the upcoming Morbid Tales and Septic, one-time contributor for Horror Hound magazine, and soon-to-be high school guest speaker, Monster Zero.
I'm going back.
You're like
to
fucking
school
Rodney Dangerfield.
again. No, because
You gonna do a triple ending?
You know what? No, because you know what a lot of '80s movies did at that point.
What?
They did a lot of twist and shouting back then.
What?
For some reason, a lot of '80s comedies played
Oh.
that song.
We called that the shrimp on the Bobby scene when there was just like a musical number in the middle of a movie for no good reason.
Yeah,
like
but it's
that.
always twist and shout for some reason.
Well,
Why?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Back
Yeah.
to school.
Teen Wolf 2,
Yeah.
Back to School. I mean,
Yeah.
they all played that song. I just don't get it. And
Back
then
to
they didn't just play it; they
Sang it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Back to School like set my musical career because all I ever wanted to be was the band that played in the corner at an '80s party like Oingo Boingo.
Like Oingo Boingo, yeah.
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that, but
Mm.
it's I just find it weird, you know.
That is weird. It's totally weird. I can't wait for that day. People are gonna be like, "Yo, John Cryer let himself go."
Ducky.
Yeah.
Oh, Ducky, why?
I'm still pissed about Ducky to this day.
All right. We also have Aries is not here yet. He may show up. He had a work thing that.
Let's be honest, the listeners wouldn't know.
Yeah, right.
No, he's right here. Say something, Aries.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello, mortals. Yeah, we could
Hello.
probably just.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I should, all right. Every once in a while, everyone interject an Ariesism. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate Dynamo.
All right, we have the triumph riding, stage directing, whiskey drinking, chief of security, warrior of nor'easters, America's sweetheart, and Rick Rubin's stunt double, Aries, god of war. His mic's not on, you asshole. You can't impersonate him. His mic's
Why
not
don't you
on.
just go to your own mic?
Well, fuck it. Radio magic and you ruin it.
Why would I have his mic on if he's
You
not
put-
there?
Well, I don't know, because maybe you know he's coming.
Oh my God! Yeah, but then
Jesus fucking Christ.
then you're right. Jesus effing
You
Christ!
fucking give it all away. I'm not telling you where the drugs are. You give it all away. You give us all away.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, but you know it's radio magic. It's a fucking radio program. They don't know that.
And what about the people who are watching?
That mic's not on because no one's using it.
Yeah,
you,
Not yet.
you get
No
it.
one's using
If no
this-
one's using
well,
a mic, it's fucking off.
I'll
Okay.
tell
Okay,
you
I wanna
what,
sit there.
you assholes made me just fucking walk out last week. It's gonna happen early.
Yeah. What's the record?
Yeah, I don't know. If the Red Sox and Yankees weren't playing, I'd be out of the house already.
We have let's see, some people in the chat room. We got Leanna hanging out.
Yes.
We have our boy Corey.
Right.
We have Chromcast Josh.
Yeah.
We have Pabst. and I think there's some other people in there. I'm not going to scroll back because we're gonna get this shit moving.
I'm mad at Pabst.
Why are you mad at Pabst?
I don't want to talk about his family stuff.
Oh, family matter. Okay.
Family business, yeah.
We also have.
I'm gonna beat him like he was my kid.
Jesus Christ, you can't do that.
I'm gonna beat him like he was my daughter.
Oh, you beat him like he's someone else's kid.
We have the chain smoking, hand kissing, baby shaking. What is he doing, guys? Just watch him, okay? Lorazepam loving, former comic book reading nerd, the official smoke chamber for Castle Wolf and Son, the pimper promotions, the Italian rapscallion, the professional bullshitter, the cool principal, the proprietor and secretary of the Sexy Speakeasy, Mr. Runtime, the table humper, and the Parisian Brewhall himself, Michael Raven Shadow.
I know it's been a while for some of you guys, but maybe my method is different. But you actually have to bring out your fucking brajol to actually have contact,
No.
right? You guys know that, right?
Oh, we got some brajol in this movie.
It's called it's called dry humping.
Yeah,
No.
I've had many successful dry humps in my life.
Yeah.
That's all he's got. That's all he's got going for him.
In
Mannequin 3
Raven
on the
Shadow,
boat.
to be fair, fucking the table doesn't look any cooler than that normal dumb shit you do. So, 6 and 1/2 a dozen the other, really, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll show you guys how it's done sometime.
Like what, fucking the
No.
table?
No, like being with a lady.
You're
You're
make love. All right, hold on. Let's unpack this real quick. You're gonna make.
So he's the fucking Casanova of
Yeah,
the show,
you're
right?
gonna
Is that
invite-
what you think?
Yeah,
You're gonna invite a lady over, which is fucking ludicrous for starters.
It
right?
happens.
And then you're gonna get her to do sex with you, and
Just
then you're
sex.
gonna stop long enough to call all of us
Yes.
who live in upwards
Knock it
of,
off.
Yeah.
who live upwards of 20 to 30 minutes away, so we can watch you have sex.
Well, I want to
Yeah,
help.
I mean, what are you going to do? Clear all this shit out from under here and duct tape her from under the table?
What? You
What?
were really weird.
What is going on here?
I'm not.
Well, it's no dead corpse, Monster Zero.
Yeah, I am not positive that you should talk anymore ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where's Aries? Pick up.
Yeah.
We need Aries insight.
Yeah, that's just. Those are the two weirdest things I think anybody said on the show in a long time. To in succession. You were gonna fuck for us,
Yeah.
and
Well, I think you might need help. Maybe
and
you
you
guys are
were
confused.
giving an insight of your dating techniques.
I know Johnny's insatiable now,
Dating.
but you know.
Johnny's insatiable for watching you get down.
No, he's just
No way.
he's just some weird shit.
Yeah,
He gets off on you getting off, dude.
Well, you know.
Don't fucking put words in my mouth, you asshole.
Let Monster Zero speak for you.
No.
It
Never.
it would literally look like Cha Cha from Land of the Lost gyrating on top of some poor woman.
That's nice.
Like you're so
It
hairy.
was Chaka, I thought.
I think it's Cha Cha.
All right. Looks like
Leah-
Aries is en route.
Oh.
So
Leanna says, I swear to God, MZ, you're going to make me call the cops one night.
Jesus.
Please.
Don't call 911. It's a joke.
Oh shit! The ledge is hanging out.
Oh.
Ledge. Man, Ledge knows how to live. Like if you follow him on the Facebook, like that guy's got the fucking life. He's fucking.
He's
eating good-
fucking?
Yeah.
We're
watch
gonna
that?
watch him now.
No.
He's doing the hot tub course.
Yeah. No, he's in the hot tub. He's fucking hanging out with his awesome wife. He's fucking going to the movies. He's in the
Kids.
teacups.
Got awesome kids.
Like, yeah, he's fucking, his kids are fucking.
And he's got
yeah.
fucking amazing job.
Yeah, he's got a
Yeah.
fucking sword in his office.
Yeah, he does.
Like he's just like
Battle axe.
Man, like every once in a while he has to tell me I'm an asshole on the internet and I should stop being an asshole. But
He's
so-
not wrong.
yeah, so for you guys who like wonder why I stop abruptly being an asshole, it's mostly him.
Sorry.
What are
No.
you trying to motion at me for?
No,
MZ?
no, it's just that I just, Aries will be here very soon.
What did I just say?
And it's hot too.
fucking 30 seconds ago, you asshole.
Like, I pay attention to what you say.
All right, so
Johnny,
yes.
Aries is on his way.
Oh my God, he is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raven Shot. I had no
I
idea.
just want to tell you,
Ha,
you're,
ha,
you're
ha.
doing the produce.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
glad.
Keep
Wanted to show
cracking
you.
jokes.
That's
All right.
that should be the name of his book, The Legend of the Ledge.
Ooh, how about over the ledge?
Over the ledge.
Over the ledge.
Nah, that's when he's too old.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's getting there.
On the ledge. Right?
On-
Is that-
all right.
Is that who you're
And it should
inviting
be
us over to
written in a
see?
ledger.
Yeah, I'll fuck Ledger.
Wow,
Jesus.
this is a weird show.
Come on, Ledger.
How do you think it was going to get any more weird from
Yeah.
last week?
Yeah, this is a weird show. I don't like it. Start over.
Yeah.
Jacob, pick up.
Drive Jack and Mark just posted on the Fib. It says, "Oh, yo, Mars, while nursing, I also step in as the workplace snake wrangler." I guess he wrangled the snake.
No.
He
Holy
posted some
shit.
pictures.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see that.
It's
Oh, shit.
it's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, look at that.
Holy shit, he fucking caught it. Drive Jack and Mark.
You're my hero already, but I don't
Holy
want to fucking
shit.
see that. He probably got that snake
It's-
drunk.
It's huge.
Yeah, and that's a baby.
Lock your doors, dude.
I think he does now.
Did you
I
actually?
think he's settled down.
Wait a minute. Oh no! You messed up. That's actually a one of those shower pictures that Cornelia sent us.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, Raven Shadow.
Yes.
We're going to do this real quick. We're not going to take a break. We're going to right into
Why?
the movie because we have shit going on.
Well, all right.
More important.
So you sit down and watch Mandy. What do you do to prepare?
Well, I take a break and I smoke a cigarette.
Well, I did do that. No, I had a bad week, John. You know, I had a rough week. I had a rough couple weeks. You know, ever see True Romance?
Yep.
True romance with furniture?
No, you know that scene when Clarence in Alabama and Elliot are in the elevator
Yeah.
riding up to the drug deal.
Yeah.
Clarence flips out, pulls the gun on him, and like Bronson Pinchot just like wants to take him away. Come to fucking take me away.
I'm going to fucking take you away.
I wish they did. They didn't, but they didn't. But I got through it. And I watched this movie,
What is fucking happening?
and I got confused. And I want to talk about it.
All right.
So I gotta say-
Well, that's what we're going to do.
Well, good.
So
I can't fucking wait.
so
then.
strap
so
on,
fucking
okay?
Strap on, and
Yeah.
bully.
Bully. All right, so we're going to talk.
Thought I was the bully.
We're going
bully
right in.
cahoots.
We're going right in. We're going to talk about Mandy. This film is not rated. It is 2 hours, 1 minute action horror thriller from director Panos Cosmatos, and it is written by Panos Cosmatos and Aaron Stewart on, and it stars Nicolas Cage, Andrea Riseborough, Linus Roach, Ned Dennehy, Olwen Fier. I don't know how to say that. Richard Brake, Bill Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Mac.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
yeah.
the synopsis we have, Mandy is set in the primal wilderness of 1983 where Red Miller, a broken and haunted man, hunts an unhinged religious sect who slaughtered the love of his life. Whew.
I
So
loved it.
spoiler.
I loved it. I'm just putting it out there. I loved it.
You loved it?
Treat A+.
All right,
I loved
review's
it.
done.
It's done.
Like a breakdown.
Yeah, I loved it.
All right, before we jump into this, I have some notes to set it up. So we talked about this before, but we haven't talked about Panos Cosmatos in about 4 years because I think we did Beyond the Black Rainbow 4, maybe even 5 years ago. It was a while ago.
And that movie was a thing of beauty.
It was. Loved it.
Oh, my fucking
So
God.
that was his feature debut. This is his follow-up 8 years later.
I just
8
watched-
fucking years.
I just watched that movie again about maybe a month ago.
I watched a little. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a few scenes.
And
'Cause
it's
It's
just-
great, right?
Oh, it's cocaine for the eyes.
There's a better way to get there.
What is
I had,
okay for the
you know what?
I'll show you how it's done
Tu-
all the time. I will. I'll
Tune
in
in from
service.
to the From the Canopy podcast with Corey and Mars.
Is that cocaine for the ears?
I'm leaving. You know, I hate to agree with him, but I do. I said earlier that this guy's visual palette is to my eyes as like Tarantino or Shane Black is to my ears. Like I just fucking love it.
Yeah. So his father was George P. Cosmatos, who directed Rambo: First Blood Part 2, Cobra, Leviathan,
All right.
Tombstone.
Oh shit! I knew the last
Yeah.
name sounded familiar. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
All
he's
right, all right.
you know,
he comes from good stock.
and he didn't actually direct a ton of movies. I want to say he did between like 9 and 12. I don't recall exactly.
He could have
how
stopped
many.
at Cobra though, right? Like
Oh
and been,
yeah,
like, a
Cobra's
legend.
fucking
No, yeah.
legend. Yeah. So I mean, clearly, and he actually Panos, the son, the director of Mandy, he actually worked on Tombstone as like I don't know, he had like probably holding a boom mic. I don't remember exactly what he did, but he's credited on Tombstone. He probably was pretty young at the time,
Fucking love Tombstone.
but he grew up on sets and working with his dad and stuff like that. So I mean, clearly it's in his blood, and as indicated by how much most of us love Beyond the Black Rainbow, we're a big, unabashed fans of Panos Cosmatos. So coming in, there definitely is some bias, I think. So just saying, I fucking love this guy after one movie. I love him, and I've been waiting for the next film for, we watched it in 2013, I think, so 5 years.
Well, he set up a style that's all his own in one
Yeah.
movie, and
Yeah.
very few directors can get away with saying that.
And it's just a fucking travesty that it's taken 8 years for him to put out another film. But we know how it can go in Hollywood. So I understand. I'm sure he had a few other projects that probably didn't happen for whatever reason. And as you're watching the opening credits, we see produced by Spectre Vision,
Which I was so excited about.
which is Elijah Wood's production company.
I was doing cartwheels when I saw that.
I want to see you do a fucking cartwheel. Come on.
Do it right now.
Let's see it.
I'll do one down the stairs. How about that?
If you do a cartwheel, everything that's going on in my life will be better, and that's fucking saying a lot.
Nah, when I saw Elijah Wood's name attached to this Spectre Vision, I knew I was in good hands.
You make everything sound so fucking gross.
How is it gross?
But they have a good track record.
He's just awesome.
Spectre Vision definitely has a good track
sure.
record.
Yeah.
So when you
My
do see
favorite
that,
guy in movies right now
when
is
you do
Elijah
see
Wood.
that on a film, it definitely instills some positivity, I think.
Man, no bullshit artist.
And also worth mentioning is the score was done by Johan Johansson,
Yes.
and this was his final score before he passed away in February of 2018 due to an accidental drug overdose. Apparently, he was speaking of cocaine for the eyes. Apparently, he was snorted some cocaine, and
That's
he was on
sad.
some prescription meds. Didn't agree, and that's sort of what caused. But I can't remember if he's an Oscar winner, but he's Oscar nominated for some of his scores. He was getting some pretty high profile stuff, and he had been doing some really phenomenal scores. So it's a shame because this is like he was getting to like the peak of being in really high demand and working on a lot of stuff. And yeah, it's a shame that he did pass away. And so this was released posthumously. Obviously came out after he passed. And there's a nice little thing in the credits that
I was only 48.
dedicated to him.
Is that how you say that?
Johan Johansson?
No.
Posthumous.
I thought it was posthumously.
Posthumously. What did I say?
Posthumously.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
Johnny,
but
it's actually pronounced posthumously.
I believe
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Well, is the thing I would believe you over me. So
No, it is. You're right. It is. I don't know. I just said it wrong. So he did Sicario. He did The Theory of Everything. That was the one he got nominated for. He did Prisoners. He did Arrival. So he did some pretty.
I want to see Prisoners, even though that will hurt my feelings.
he was originally supposed to score Blade Runner 2049, but I guess the direction that he went in wasn't exactly what they wanted. They wanted something more like was it Vangelis that did the
Yeah.
they wanted something more like the original. So they ended up going with shit. I'm trying to blank on his name.
Not Rob.
He's like the guy right now in for when it comes to scores. But anyways, he never put out the score for Blade Runner 2049, but he's worked with Denis Villeneuve a lot. So, and that's probably what got him to this point. So it's really sad. But it's I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about the score later, but it's a haunting, really fucking powerful score. All right, so in the movie, kicking right off, Mars, we get some fucking King Crimson in the opening credits.
I was so fucking happy.
I know.
And it was funny, just like within a few minutes of the movie starting, I saw a weird King Crimson meme, like out of the
really?
blue, like somebody made like it was a chord of the Crimson King, like it was really bizarre. But like, that's that sort of like, I think that it put us right where we needed to be, right? Like there's something weird and mythical about King Crimson, like that.
Well, and just their imagery on their album covers,
Yeah.
and sort of what it provokes when you listen to it is very sort of reminiscent of what this movie conveyed. I think, So I think that was a great choice because it sort of set it up, you know, a lot of people. I heard a lot of people say that this is sort of Pink Floyd,
Oh,
sort of ish, but I think King Crimson's more apt.
yeah. Hans Zimmer, by the way, is who. You're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for.
Hans Zimmer. Yeah, he's like the go-to.
You know
guy.
what's funny is that, and I'm sure a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean fans will be angry with me and Batman fans,
Mhm.
but that score for that movie was way cool. I never would have guessed it was him in 100 years.
Oh, Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Though he did do Inception, right? And I should look. I'm just getting a bad habit of just fucking saying things like I've come to the conclusion the key to fucking podcasting is just say any old stupid shit like you mean it.
Bambaleo.
No.
All right, so now we've gotten a lot of the sort of, you know, like the production stuff out of the way. Now we can jump into this. So right off the bat, I mean, this film has such a surreal look to it. Even it basically takes Beyond the Black Rainbow and turns it up to 11. I think.
I agree.
In a sense, with the visual style.
You mentioned the bias before, and there was certainly like 15, 20 minutes into this, he was probably coasting on how excited I was to watch it, but there's a point like right around where like there's like a home invasion that happens where like he fucking earned his keep, you know, and I was like full in on the movie,
Yeah.
in the movie I was watching.
Yeah, so it just had like, I'm sure it wasn't gels. I'm sure like at this point in time, like in filmmaking, like we're not really using light gels to make this look. I'm sure it's post production, but the way it looked was very stylistic and very very awesome. And even like I love the intro and the title cards that they had throughout.
Oh, they were beautiful.
Sort of like chapter markers almost, or I don't know how you want to. You know, but they were all different styled differently, and to me, they were most of them reminded me of like sci-fi novel covers almost. You know, did you guys get that sort of feel from it? And then obviously, the Mandy one was like death metal, right?
Yeah,
Black
that
metal,
was complete death metal. All
which makes sense
animation
in terms of
and you get little snippets of that animation as well.
Yeah,
in
there
this
is
movie that's just so surreal looking but it adds such depth to this film, as if this movie isn't deep enough.
Right.
It's just insane where this movie goes, and as far as the lighting goes, I agree. You know, probably all post.
Seemed really organic though. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I was gonna say it for some reason though, it made me feel like, you know what? Yeah, it could be gel. Could be gel.
Hey Mandy, you gelling?
Jesus.
And here's Mandy.
And here's Mandy.
I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to say I looked.
Oh, hello, Mandy. How are you?
My life is terrible. This is a bad.
So we have.
That's not Mandy. That's Aries.
So obviously on one side we have Mandy and we have Red, played by Andrea Riseborough and Nicolas Cage, respectively. And then on the other side we have this bizarre cult that was led by
Fucking
Jeremiah.
Linus Roach, who played Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
And like they like those were some pretty fucking bizarre characters. And they were played so well by all, like they were cast perfectly. Like I didn't recognize many of these people aside from Richard Brake.
Yeah.
And I think they were cast perfectly, and they like Linus Roach in this was amazing.
Yeah.
Like
he was
as Jeremiah.
fantastic. Everybody was fantastic in this movie, and they were able to flesh out these characters in only a way that a movie like this could support.
Yeah.
You put these characters in a different movie, and they're just gonna either be they're just going to overwhelm the film or get totally lost. These characters in this specific film, the way they were played out by the specific players that they were played by, fits. It's like Tetris. It fits perfectly, you know.
Yeah,
it's so complex in how you wrangle all this shit together, but somehow Cosmatos made it work extremely well.
And I agree with you. There's a lot to this. There's the performances. Like I think the script was fantastic too. Like it just a lot of the dialogue felt very organic and nothing really felt forced. And there was even some really good lines in this. Like, I jotted down a couple of them, like especially at the end. It was very quotable, where we have like the final encounter basically, and
Jeremiah's line.
yeah.
That's my favorite shirt.
Oh, that too. Yeah, it was like I won't even say him actually, but there's some like just some really good lines in this. It's one of those sort of like quotable. In a way, I feel like Panos Cosmatos almost channeled his father in a sense with some of the action beats. Although took it to a fucking 11, right? Like the last hour of this movie is insane, right? Like it's insane.
Yeah. That was how I started my day today.
You started your day by finishing this movie?
Yep.
Did you must have felt like the fucking king of the world.
I am the king of the world. Everyone took a vote. You guys weren't there. But no, I did. I got up at 5 fucking this morning. 5 in the morning. Did all my usual chores.
You're
and I watched,
fucking crazy.
I am fucking crazy. That's true. No, I watched this. Yeah, so this was from 6 in the morning. I watched this to about 7:15. So I started my day.
Wow.
I had my yogurt and my Carnation Instant Breakfast shake.
You're gonna
You're-
love
you
it in
wait,
a minute.
Did you say yoga?
Yogurt.
Yogurt.
How they do
Oh,
this.
yogurt.
Yogurt.
Look how
You
they
said
do the light
yogurt.
in this scene. It's
It's beautiful.
Don't do that, because they can't look at how you do it.
That's the thing that he was talking about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we are playing the movie in studio just because I just
See,
want
I did it
have
to him too. Don't take it personally.
I want to have it be played because I just it's beautiful. I just want to
Yeah.
be able to watch
It's
it
nice.
while we're
Put
talking
it on.
about
It's
it.
like a Christmas
but
tree.
but the way they do
Just put it on.
that hot pink neon, like
Yeah,
the scene
yeah.
where they're laying down face to face that
Yeah.
we were just looking at about 3 minutes ago, and it looks like the way they have the light, or however, or whatever it is. that
It
they're
out
doing.
reference reffin', right? Like this is like critical mass for that type of super eye candy. And what I love about this director, and I think we said this in Beyond the Black Rainbow, is you have all these directors, right, who are very influenced by Kubrick. But you can see the directors who are influenced by Jodorowsky because they bring their outhouse to the art house. You know, they bring their trash cinema in their art cinema. And I really, really appreciate that. Jodorowsky is most known for making a fucking spaghetti western.
I am glad you brought up Jodorowsky because I was thinking the same thing. More notably, Holy Mountain in
Oh, sure. I
to
mean,
compare with this film, but I'm glad you brought him up.
yeah. I mean, if this like I feel like he was Cage was mugging it up in this movie like Franco Nero levels. Like it was definitely like fucking like. It also reminded me of he doesn't quite have the filmography, but there were parts of this that really reminded me of The Visitor. Especially at the end of The Visitor, like.
Like look at once again, I'm going to reference it, but like this scene here, just as Mandy's walking through the woods, is just so like fantastical. It has this just
Very dreamlike.
otherworldly, yeah. And you know what? Like, I need to watch this movie again, and I may actually watch it this weekend because there is something else going on here that is more kind of cosmic, I think.
Yeah, and also,
I got some questions.
Yeah.
It's also like there's something going on here too that like they give you enough, like really hand you. He really hands you enough, in the same way that say like Mother did. That I feel like as opposed to like giving it to you on a silver platter, he's actually like doing like some prestidigitation here because I feel like you get something, but then there's fucking all this other synapses firing that like there's just too much to grab.
Well, there's a lot because I didn't have as much time to research this as I'd hoped, but there's a lot of sort of like occult
Supernatural machinations.
imagery and sort of references that are going on in this. And there's the Horn of Abraxas, which is mentioned, and there's just, I don't want to get too deep into it, mostly because it's not really spoilery, but I just don't know enough about it. But there is, like, especially the ending of this, actually, you know what, I'm not going to mention because it reminded me of another movie that is one of my favorite movies. I think you guys might might understand that it has the ending sort of led you to believe that something else might have been going all along.
Oh, Secret of Nim.
No,
Yes.
that's not it.
Cabin in the Woods.
No. Don't guess anyways. I'm not going to say.
No, but his new movie looks
Let's
fucking
be
awesome.
cops.
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
That's it. You guessed it.
I told you not to guess it.
I'm sorry. Sorry, listener.
Chopping mall.
And then we have I don't want to talk too much about the plot here. It's really simple. We have Mandy and Red, and they're living sort of in the woods. They have this sort of quiet life, and one day Mandy's walking to work, or I assume she's going to work, right? She's going to the store, and she walks by a truck that has this cult led by Jeremiah, and he meets eyes with her, and he basically says, "I want her. I need, go get her."
Right.
And so that's when they use, I think is what they called the Horn of Abraxas. We have the character of Brother Swan, who is played by Ned Dennehy, and he goes out at night, blows this horn, and then these Cenobite biker kind of dudes show up.
Yeah.
And they were fucking awesome. They were like badass neon maniacs.
Yeah.
And
Or at least the badass bikers from Weird Science.
yeah.
Those bikers were pretty badass.
Yeah.
If the Cenobites and the characters from Hobo with a Shotgun had a baby, this is kind of what you would get, I think.
Yeah, they were just super cool looking, and
God bless
they
you.
definitely reminded me of
Assholes.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
we're fucking having a conversation here. I'm talking.
I'm sneezing.
So you sneeze all the time.
I'd stop to say, "God bless you."
Goes in tight.
Ooh. Comes out real easy.
And fast.
Oh, well. Trying to cross the finish line.
Corey says they shot the hell out of it, as Corny would say.
Yes, thank you.
And Corey says Dark Crystal on acid.
Interesting.
So at this point, and then they enlist the aid of I didn't catch the name of the bikers. They were like the Black something or other. Did you guys get the name?
Let's see.
The black skulls.
Scratch.
Something like that, yeah.
Like one of them seems Scratch, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the Black
Ska-
Skulls.
Scratch,
Something
Scabs.
along. No, I want the fucking name of the gang, you idiot.
Dopey.
I don't know the name of the gang. I'm only giving you the name of the.
I don't
Easy.
care about their fucking names.
Oh, for Christ's
Lefty,
sake,
cutter.
baby.
Joe Bessa.
Well, one's called Scratch. One's called Scabs.
Marion Pippin.
One's called Fuck Pig. And
That's
one's,
you.
One's called Dog the Dog.
Is that like Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah. Quantum and Woody.
So, I just loved the use of them and how they showed up, and it was almost like you wanted more of them, but you got just enough of them to like kind of wet your palate and want more of them, So I thought that was sort of a cool thing, and so then that there's a scene when they show up and they kidnap Mandy.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, was that the one you're referring to, Mars?
Yes.
Earlier, yeah. It's a really badass scene where they show up and
Kind of Lost Boys like a little bit too.
Lost Boys,
Yeah, when they're on the motorcycles.
because they're on motorcycles. they're
I'm
Lost
so
Boys.
fucking sorry, Johnny. Let's talk about Scratch and fucking
Easy.
Itchy again.
Easy Rider too, Johnny. A lot like Easy Rider.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What are the other movies with motorcycles?
There's lots.
It was like Midnight Madness with Eddie D's and
Grease 2. Grease 2 with Michael. The T-Birds jumping out of cars.
It reminded
be
me a
some-
lot of Night Riders.
Wouldn't that be something if one of the bike riders was Eddie Deason?
It might be.
Jesus Christ.
No, the yeah.
It was the Pink Angels.
Yeah.
Yes. Dear God, no.
All right, so I don't even remember where I fucking was. I was talking about the bikers.
Lost Boys.
Last Boys.
Yeah.
And, so they take Mandy. It was a really fucking cool scene. Mandy is now with the the cult, if you will, with Jeremiah. And I love that scene where Jeremiah is playing the music.
And
And
their big scene back and forth.
yeah, so they're doing the scene, and then there's the part where Mandy gets like this like a drop of some I'm assuming a psychotropic or something
Yeah,
like that in
yeah.
her eye.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then the stinger and the fucking
Yeah.
Yeah, what the
neck.
fuck was that?
It was a stinger.
It was
I don't
just
know. It was
a
a
giant
fucking weird
stinger.
bug. And then we have Jeremiah is sort of, doing this. I love that back and forth between them, though, and he's kind of explaining to her how he found himself, or who he is now.
Where
And
they
stu-
start blending their faces.
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
It was like Godly and Cream's Cry video.
Okay.
That's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. I thought, okay, we haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of when I saw this movie was WCW Road Wild and Sturgis.
Oh, Evil Corny says BMX Bandits, Raven
Yeah,
Shadow.
Thank you, Corny.
Those aren't motorcycles.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Get with it, Corny. The fuck. With a UG.
With a UG.
Yeah, the fug.
Jesus. So there's that scene. I'm not gonna say too much. They kind of give away a little bit of it in the synopsis, but I'm not gonna say too much more than that. But something causes Red to want to get revenge, and it's a pretty heartbreaking scene.
Yeah.
Like just that whole scene where he's sort of coming to grips with what had just happened, and I honestly think Nicolas Cage acted his ass off in that scene.
He was
especially.
really
Great.
dialed in at that point. I think this was his most dialed in film in years.
because he was captured and he was like pulling himself out of the barbed wire. You could see like it was like he had barbed wire wrapped around his fucking mouth and like his hands. And I just thought that that whole scene was really powerful. And then right after that, we get the fucking Cheddar Goblin, which Raven Shadow forgot
Yeah.
about, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell you could forget about the Cheddar Goblin.
Well,
Let me find the Cheddar Goblin, just so you can fucking see it and know what we're talking about. So here's
it's got to be coming
yeah,
up.
it's coming up here.
All right, this is it.
Let me go back a sec here. I'm gonna play the audio.
And Nick Cage's shirt is just awesome.
And he's fucking in his tighty whities and like
that was 83. Didn't have a lot of options in the stores.
I mean, I don't know if that's a Cincinnati Bengals shirt or whatever, but
It's a tiger shirt.
it's just awesome.
all right, well here's the Cheddar Goblin, Raven Shadow. You fucking missed somehow
Yeah,
after this powerful scene.
yeah.
Well, I was very caught up in emotionality.
You must have had to go and take a smoke.
I did miss the Cheddar Goblin. I think I went downstairs.
What the fuck?
I had to get something.
Don't you?
Don't you know how to pause?
It's
Rewind?
Do you even pause, bro?
I fucking love the Cheddar Goblin.
After like what just happened to him and this is like what he's fucking
fuck.
watching?
It's Goblin good. It's like a Kraft macaroni and cheese commercial. Instead of Kraft macaroni and cheese, it's the Cheddar Goblin.
It's
Can't believe he just explained the joke from the movie.
Yeah.
that no one can see, Dynamo.
No, people saw it.
Well, you didn't
The only
see
one
it
who
and you
didn't
watched
see it
it.
Yeah,
is
except
the-
for you. You didn't
Is
fucking
the 25% that does the show.
How do you miss the
Well,
Cheddar Goblin?
There was some stuff going on. The dog was scared. I had to talk to him.
Do you know how to fucking pause?
There was some things going on. There was
Pause
some,
the
Do you
movie.
know what a pause? You know what pause is?
Yeah,
What is it?
like Pawsy Traction. They put that on the cars.
Why do you ask him anything?
I'm having fun with you. I know what pause is.
Jesus Christ!
Then they do really cool heavy metal like animation.
And I love the animation that they got going on here, and it's fucking creepy too. It's like
yeah.
It's like you,
something like
creepy.
from it's true, but it's like something like from.
I
Heavy
also
metal.
I fucking
This-
love this scene.
This was the
in-
best scene in the movie.
in
I
the
think.
bathroom. It was after the Cheddar
bathroom
Goblin
scene.
The bathroom scene where Nicolas Cage once again is in his tighty whities and socks and his fucking
Completely-
tiger shirt.
and he completely loses his
Yeah, I
shit.
loved it.
It's like in this scene he goes through like the spectrum of he goes through like he's drinking and pouring alcohol all over his wounds, and he goes from like pain to sadness to like this feeling of like vengeance.
Berserk.
Yeah, berserker rage, I guess, and you can see just that flow in within like a minute.
+2 to all damage on
Yeah.
Yeah, but
cleave on adjoint characters.
And he belts out a scream like
yeah, yeah.
That's just amazing.
And just the way the scene was shot too,
Yeah.
like nothing looked like this at all in the movie.
No.
Like this bathroom was just so fucking bizarre
I-
looking
it-
in contrast to everything else.
wallpaper,
Yeah,
the way the wallpaper looked, I mean, it's very, very yellow and red and golden, and
Yeah.
it has a very Kubrickian look to it.
and even that slight camera movement, you know.
Yeah.
Right?
I have not seen acting this powerful since Monster Zero's told us he wasn't a nurse and he wasn't the Red Cross.
That's Academy Award-winning material, my friend.
Is this you at night, Raven Shadow?
Listen.
Or is this morning drinking, Raven Shadow?
There was a time when you didn't really tell the difference between one or the other.
When you drink at
So-
like 4 a.m., is that night drinking or morning drinking?
That's night drinking.
It is?
Yeah. Still, you're getting close, but no.
What if you wake up at
Night
4 a.m.?
drinking.
Yeah, typically five and up would be day drinking.
5 and up. For ages,
Yeah.
5 and up.
now he's starting to.
By
so he,
Whammo.
like
Yeah.
you said, bewilderment, sadness. Now he feels vengeance.
Rage,
coming in.
vengeance.
And rage.
You just-
severe rage.
You just Monster Zero. I mean, Michael Raven Shadow. You just created like the next great kids game.
What's that?
When it's dark out and you're thirsty, night drinking. In the morning when your friends say, dude, what were you thinking, night drinking?
Oh, I love night drinking.
When you try to get there, but you can't handle the stairs, night drinking.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
From the makers of day drinking.
Yeah. when you think
You
you
gotta go home, kid, and you take a shit on the lid.
Yeah, Aries!
Hey, Aries, you took it for granted, and then you went away, hey, Aries.
Now
And
I
here's-
turned his mic on.
We missed you, just in case you thought we didn't
Now,
care.
Aries, Raven Shadow tried to talk in your mic earlier,
And
but
pretend he
since
was
no
you.
one was there, I had it off. And you look like a fucking idiot.
Well, no, I think no, Johnny, don't fucking.
No, that's what happened.
Oh, I'm not the producer. I think maybe you knew. Maybe he's gonna come here, but doing a little thing here. You have it on. Why would you not have it on?
What?
What is that? Saving the fucking?
I
light
just
bill?
turned it on when he walked
Oh,
in the
well,
door.
Good for you.
Because
Oh,
I'm a
good for
fucking
you.
professional.
You are a fucking professional. That's right.
And
You're like fucking Leon.
now here's Bill Duke. We're up to Bill Duke.
Oh, I love this
and
scene with Bill
and he
Duke.
puts on such a fantastic deadpan performance. He really, I mean,
It's fuking
Where,
terrific.
where
He
would
is
people know
terrific.
Bill Duke from? Just
The fucking
if-
Predator.
Predator.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Predator, obviously.
Ma-
Commando.
Commando.
Smack.
He's played cops too
Yeah.
before.
yeah, Commando.
He was in, wasn't he in the Mel Gibson Parker movie there,
What women
Payback?
were-
Oh.
He's been in a ton of shit. He was on
Yeah.
Benson. But yeah, so Predator, he was Mac and Predator,
Oh yeah.
Commando,
X-Men.
Action Jackson, he was in.
Oh yeah, he was the captain.
Bird on a Wire, Menace to Society.
Yeah, Battle Dogs.
Like you guys have definitely seen him in
Yeah.
flicks. And as soon as you see him, you'll recognize right away. But
Yeah.
Bill Duke is fucking
Oh
awesome.
yeah, Car Wash. He's in Car Wash.
He
of
looked like
course.
he did look like Bill Duke's skeleton in this movie, though.
He did. Crazy evil. Was
Yeah,
it
man,
a crazy evil cheddar goblin?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the Cheddar Goblin areas? You missed the most important part
I
of
don't
it.
know what the
You
hell
know
you're
what-
talking
oh,
about.
See?
Bird on a Wire.
See?
Did you not watch this movie, Aries?
I did. Cheddar Goblin.
Hot-
Cheddar as in cheese. What?
Cheddar
No,
Beach.
it's a metal.
Raven Shadow is like fucking fist pumping right now because he feels redemption.
I do feel redemption.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to stand with him, but I really have no idea what's going on.
See?
I just
Well, you just got in, so
Yeah, but he saw the movie.
all right. Cheddar Goblin. You don't remember the Cheddar Goblin?
no.
No, be mean to him.
Just no.
No.
Yeah, be mean to him, Monster Zero. I want to see
I don't want to be mean to him.
make you a
Come on, I've had a
pinata.
long day. Be mean to me.
Be mean to me.
I dare
He
you.
just came off a long day of work and now he's drinking whiskey, and you want me to be mean to him?
Aries, if you punch him, I'm
Insane.
sure candy comes out.
Yeah, he's probably not starting now.
All right, so Aries, we've been talking about the movie for about 40 minutes or so because we're doing the interview soon. So we're getting near the part where we're going to start to wrap up. So,
Okay.
but but we're talking about the Cheddar Goblin, and I think that was the perfect point for that because it added some levity to a fucking intense scene, you know, and I think it was almost like a transition too of his psyche of what was going on, you know. So I thought that was a good use of a really sort of crazy little scene, and so he's talking to Bill Duke, and he's talking about getting revenge. And apparently he had given his, I can't remember what he called it now, but his crossbow, the Reaper.
Yep.
Yeah, he gave it to him for safekeeping, I would imagine, I guess. And so Bill Duke's character is like, I got some other stuff for you.
Which was super subtle because, like, that meant that Nick Cage wasn't a fucking lumberjack, right?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like that without like having the fucking...
Which is important, yeah.
Yeah, without having the fucking Bourne Identity style, like, you know, flashback or anything else. Like, right there I said that this guy has a crossbow that he named the Reaper. He's not a lumberjack, you know? And this is probably why he lives, you know, in the fucking end of the world.
Yeah, and that's important as we head to the, you know, it's sort of like, I guess it's a little bit more than halfway through, but it's pretty much the last half of the film is just him getting revenge. And then so he makes this scythe,
Yeah.
which is fucking incredible.
Yeah, this is totally badass.
Aries, could you make one of these for us?
I could try.
Yes.
I don't have all the equipment, so it may be tin.
Well, I got beggars can't be choosers.
This thing is totally badass.
Yeah, it's just a really cool scene too, seeing him sort of make it.
Every edge on this weapon is just deadly.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, your jaw's gonna fucking drop.
Well,
Look
there's
at
the
this
finished
fucking
product.
thing.
I love this movie. I really do.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I don't love this review, though, because it's like a fucking director's commentary. Monster Zero, will you stop talking about the fucking screen? Stop it.
Am I gonna have to turn it off, MZ?
Yeah.
Habit. I can't help it. I can't
Stop
help
it.
I
Like,
can't
they
help it.
can't see it. And you're like, oh, look at that.
Look
There
at
it
this.
is.
Look at this. Isn't that great? Look at this.
This is terrific. You know, like, stop it.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I do laugh like that.
Yeah.
So at this point, the movie takes on a different tone, and it's all about vengeance, revenge, and part of me. So he goes after the crazy Cenobite biker gang, and like they seem like pretty badass to me, like almost like final boss ish.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of wish that we had gotten to see more of them, but in the grand scheme of the hierarchy, it made sense, right?
We didn't know we were going to get a chainsaw giant.
Right.
You know what is fucking interesting? The thing that I found the most about this movie. We've seen this movie 100 times.
Yeah, this
And if
setup. Yeah,
If a fucking me, you know, like made this movie, it would just be what it is, right? It's like a fucking, you know, like, oh, they didn't know that they fucking killed the fucking serial killer or baddest Marine. It's thou shalt not kill except. You know what I mean? Like we've seen this movie, you know, like, but never as fucking awesome, never as subtle. Like, how can this movie be fucking subtle as anything I've seen in a long time, narratively, and so visually bombastic?
yeah.
Like it's fucking
Right.
ridiculous. Like the fucking like weird like dichotomy of the writing of this film
Right.
versus the visual style of this film.
So you're onto something here because you had actually said this off air, and I actually I want you to repeat it, Mars. If this movie came out in 1988, like everyone would be jerking.
Oh, they'd be
off,
losing
right?
their mind. Yeah.
But the fact that it came out in 2018, I think people, and I'm not saying
I was talking about a different movie too, but it's applicable.
Oh, okay. And I don't know what the general consensus so far has been pretty positive
I think so.
that
Yeah.
I've seen. But I've seen some naysayers, and that's fine. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But you know, I've seen some people be like, "Oh, well, it's just."
It would
this
be
and this."
possession, right? Like it'd be that movie, or even The Visitor. You know, it'd be that movie that like is
Yeah.
fucking outrageous and
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's fucking great. Like,
yeah. Like Miami Connection, let's say. I know
Right.
that's a completely different style of
Yeah.
movie, but that movie fucking bombed.
Right.
No one watched it, and then it wasn't
Right.
until Zach Carlson found
I was
it.
actually complaining about The Predator, and you said exactly what I thought though. Like when you repeated,
Gotcha,
like we were
okay.
talking about two different things. You know, like
Oh,
'cause,
okay.
You know, if that movie came out in 1987, people like all the
I
complaints that
see.
people have.
Okay, yeah. I
But the
juxtapose
same,
that,
100% the same feeling I have. Like any complaints that people had about this movie would be the same complaints I feel like they would have to have about El Topo, or maybe something not as masterful as that, but like a film like even like Suspiria. You know what I mean? Like that, a film that is perhaps maybe style over substance.
Yep.
But I would argue all day, every day, that there is a weird substance to this film that is a fucking trashy, backwoods revenge exploitation movie. You know?
Right,
Sure,
but as you said, with that fucking visual flair
Right.
that you don't get from this kind of movie.
Do you know who's a director that you would never think to mention, but I feel like he has to be a giant influence on him, because there was the visual palette in Beyond the Black Rainbow, and then the dual chainsaw fight in this film. Like, I feel like shit. That director is he's a director I love too. It's I got it. I feel like this guy has to be a Coscarelli fan.
Don Coscarelli, yeah.
Yeah, like because there's a lot of like. Specifically Phantasm callback imagery in his first two films here. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, man, like I just think that that's the thing that I love the most about it, is that I would probably like this film if it was just somebody took this script and made this movie. You know, the fact that this guy it reminds me of Tiny White, right? That's why I say Tiny White's a genius, because Tiny White does this theoretically thinks he does the same thing that every electronic musician does, and you can hate him or you can love him, but no one sounds like Tiny White, right? Another artist I love, Brian Danielson of Daniel Bryan. He thinks he does the same thing that like every like technical grapple fuck guy does, but he doesn't. There's something else there, and that's what I love about this guy so far, because he's like, I just made a sci-fi movie, and I just made a backwoods revenge movie. Like, I feel like that, like, there's an air of, like, that he's just doing it, and it's so fucking organic, and it's so, like...
Yeah. There's nothing... I mean, that's the thing, is he's already in his own category. There's
Right.
nothing like this.
No, I agree 100%. Like, there's no... you can pick pieces of other directors who have used some of the... I don't even want to say cinematic shorthand. You know, like, obviously, the title card stuff was reminiscent of Tarantino a little bit, and you know what I mean? Like... But, like, man, this guy, I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're looking for in this type of movie if you don't like this version of it, you know?
Right.
And I'm not even talking about, like, the action movie. Like, if you're into, you know, Kubrick or Refn or I guess Jodo or any of, like, those directors.
Yeah, this is... I'm trying to think of the best way to sort of synopsize this for someone who hasn't seen the movie. It's a really good action movie with a ton of gore, some sort of cosmic horror elements, with a really surrealistic look to it.
Yeah, it's very nightmarish, very dreamlike,
Yeah.
very baroque. You know, it's unlike anything.
If it ain't
You
Baroque,
have-
don't fix it.
It's unlike anything you really like you've ever
Barack
seen
Obama.
before.
There you go.
I agree. This movie hits all of our points of interest, every single one of them,
I agree.
and it surpasses them by a mile.
I'm curious here because we're running out of time. I want to get Aries' take
Yes.
on just, you know, you can talk about any aspects of it or just general.
I missed obviously a
Yeah.
great deal of what you guys were talking about, so I don't want to rehash anything that was already said.
Well, it's just your
But
thoughts.
yeah,
That's-
I did really enjoy this. I thought it was perhaps tad a little a little long in the beginning. Yes. For the setup, perhaps a little unnecessary, but that's very forgivable because once it got going, it didn't stop. I love the way it was shot to really feel like a movie from 1983.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I didn't like, as far as that, some of the lighting I didn't like back then, so I don't like it now still.
Mm-hmm.
Like to create a glow, they just put an overhead light. That annoyed me back then, so it annoys me now.
Okay.
But other than that, I love the way it was shot. I love the way it looked. I loved the resolution, the camera work and the resolution.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. The camera work and the acting involved. Nick Cage just being Nick Cage in those shots in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone that has seen it knows what I'm talking about.
Yep,
If you haven't
yep.
seen it, watch it and just enjoy Nick Cage being Nick Cage.
There's a particular shot of him in the car that I had in my mind's eye as the photo. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but that one would be awesome. Him in the car. With
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I paused that one.
Evil Corny says that it comes out on Blu-ray on October 30th. So there you go for anyone looking for
Cannot
that.
get here fast enough.
It's actually pretty soon. It's 5 weeks away. So, all right, let me just double check on if there's anything else I wanted to bring up here. So there's one scene when Nick Cage, the character Red, takes like a mason jar, and he like dips his finger in it and like licks it. I'm guessing it's some sort of psychotropic, some sort of drug, because what happens is like, whoa, like he's like.
Well, didn't he mention that when I was talking to I'm calling him Mac, but when Mac was talking to him,
Bill Duke.
yeah,
Yep.
he mentioned that they had some stuff that they weren't quite right afterwards.
Well, that's what created the Cenobite guys, the bikers.
Oh, I thought maybe that might have been some leftover.
And he
It
doesn't
could
stop
have,
there.
It could have, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
the hallucinogenic drugs doesn't
He
stop
does some
there.
coke.
Where Nick Cage does coke off a broken piece of glass.
Well, that makes sense.
And he
If
just
you're-
he doesn't do a line. He just shoves his
Yeah,
nose into
yeah,
a big pile.
To be fair, if you're in a whole night of vengeance, you got to fucking keep the momentum going.
I agree.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
agree.
And some of the kills and some of the set pieces in this are just fucking beautiful. Like like I love the little sort of like, I don't know what you want to call it, the house that the crazy bikers were in.
Yeah.
Like that, like even that was cool. And then we had like each one, it was like a different set piece that played up that character. Like, so we had what's his name? Richard Brake.
The chemist.
The chemist. Like that scene with the fucking tiger.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
I was just going to
it's
tell you
almost
to
like a
not
video
mention
game
that.
the way it was played out.
Why?
I don't know, like, because it blew my mind when, like, a tiger showed up.
It played itself out almost like a video game, and where Brake is like the next to the final boss, and then
Yeah, I mean, but,
Jeremiah. is
Well,
the
that's. I
final
mean, we've
boss.
seen this a million times.
yeah, that's what these movies do.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Oh sure, but I mean, it just
But this did
it
play
played
it up.
itself.
It played
out
it up
so well.
more in the vein of like, and I'm not relating it to it, but more in the vein of like the Raid, where each guy sort of had their own gimmick in a way, you know. And like we had the chainsaw battle, which was fucking awesome, you know. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen a chainsaw versus chainsaw fight?
Texas
Phantasm
Chainsaw
2.
Massacre
That's
2.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. It's been a while for me, so.
Phantasm Dose.
But this was definitely a different kind of chainsaw fight.
Yeah.
This was a lot like
Chainsaw Envy, too.
Phantasm 2, though, because, like, it had the bigger chainsaw. Like, that was a funny gag. And that's the other thing, like, sometimes when movies, Inglourious Bastards is a really good example of this. Is a movie I loved, but in a way was also disappointed because I didn't get the like Tarantino's Man on a Mission action movie that I thought I was gonna get. But this movie delivers on what it is too, and still takes some weird. I hate to use the term high road because I hate that, but still takes some alternate road. I love that. I love that we get fucking boss fights and gore and gags and all the shit that we would get from a good action movie and this incredible visual palette. Love it. Love it. Love this movie. Top 13, number 1. Let's just fucking take it home. We skip the rest of the episodes and the year end.
I feel like you've said that a couple of times already.
Yeah,
this
he
year.
did.
With what else?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
The movie that we watched a couple weeks ago.
What keeps you alive?
Yeah, I like that. That was
Yeah.
my favorite film before that. Because, I mean, I don't know.
All right. So, was there anything else that anyone wanted to bring up before we head to a verdict on this one? Because we do have to wrap up. So, no. All right. Let's do the verdict.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right. Verdict time. We're going to let you know whether this flicker is a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts we may have. Raven Shadow.
Yo, it's batshit fucking crazy. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna watch this at least 2 or 3 more times in the next
Still
few
missed
months.
the cheddar goblin.
No, I saw it. But no, some people I know will be. I'm gonna show this movie to when they're over the house. So looking forward to it. And really, as crazy as Nicolas Cage was, he wasn't. He's been a lot more over the top too. I think he still was pretty normal for him. You know, he wasn't the cartoon Nicolas Cage, despite certain scenes. He was still great. I fucking love the dude. Definitely a treat.
Aries.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this. I will, I guess, slightly disagree with Raven Shadow here, and I will say that Nick Cage was 100% over the top when need be.
When need be.
Well, that's what he like. He doesn't stay 100% all the time. He has his little Nick Cage moments and then goes right back.
But I think he was more like Nick Cagey and even like Ghost Rider or that fucking
No.
like channeling his inner Elvis and doing that shit. Like I think
That's the hokey Nick Cage. This is Nick Cage.
snorting coke, taking crazy
losing
acid.
his shit. So this is the Nick Cage everyone loves. This is the Nick Cage everyone wants to see.
Thank you.
So definitely a treat. Check it out.
MZ.
I said it before and I'll say it again. This is cocaine for the eyes. Have an LSD party and watch this movie at least 17 times. Fantastic movie.
Just throwing out every drug reference.
Wonderful.
That he knows.
Get some reefer.
Wonderful visual.
Get some Primo Gage.
Primo Gage.
Make sure you have Pepto-Bismol.
This movie is absolutely fantastic. Hits every single note. If you're a listener of this show, this will hit every single note in your book. I promise you.
Every single
Watch it.
note in your book.
In your book?
I promise you.
It's been a while since you had such a good mixed metaphor.
This is a high, very, very, very high-end treat.
He's writing another Whorehound magazine entry. Very, 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 very,
Wants to see
very,
another
very,
word.
very high.
Would you say it was lightning in a barrel?
This movie is very, 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 very.
All right,
very
shut up,
good.
Mars.
First of all, I would like to say that I did not eat a bunch of cake, candy, and soda before Aries got
Yes, you did.
here. I didn't.
Why did you even say that? Because now we're going to
Now
tell.
you're gonna get yelled at.
Yeah,
No,
now
because
you-
he's looking at me. I can tell he tells him how
He had
jittery
fucking
I am.
yodels or ding dongs or some shit. Oh, Swiss
Ding dong,
cakes or
ding
whatever.
dong, yo.
Treat. This is my favorite movie of the year so far.
All right, and for me, definitely a treat. I love this movie. This is pretty much what I had actually hoped it would be. I saw the trailer. This is kind of what I wanted, and it was. Mine's not as good. I said eye candy. It's not as good as what MZ said. It's cocaine for the eyes, and it had brutal gore and amazing action. With I mean, this role seemed like it was tailor made for Nicolas Cage. I don't know if it was written for him or written with him in mind, but it seemed tailor made. And I fucking love Panos Cosmatos. I can't wait to see what he does next.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope we don't have to wait another fucking 8 years to
I
see
won't.
his next
I
flick.
definitely won't be around, so I hope.
Hopefully, with the success of this, he gets his next thing like going right away, because this was on the top of the iTunes charts. Like it was like top 1, 2, or 3 with The Endless and something else in terms of like I don't know if it was horror or whatever, but it was like neck and neck and The Endless was 99 cents. So that had a reason to be up so high. And actually, it's funny, The Endless just hit Netflix this week, so I feel bad for the people that bought it last week. But yeah, this was amazing. And if you guys are sort of, if you like, you know, our sort of the kind of films that we tend to like this is definitely one of those films. This is it's got great action. It's got some great horror moments, and it's a surreal surreally shot. It's beautiful, and so it's got some depth that we didn't even really get a chance to dive into, mostly because we're not smart enough to.
Nope.
But there's a lot going on here that I would love to try to break down another time, and I actually would love to talk to Panos Cosmatos. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but would love to get him on to talk a little bit about this sometime. But definitely a big time treat. Love this movie, and I think a lot of you guys will. And we're going to hear from some of our listeners later on to see what they think about it. So next week, so that's going to wrap up Mandy. Go check it out. And next week, we are going to review a film called Ghost Stories. And we missed this initially when it hit VOD, and it just hit Blu-ray and DVD a week or two ago. So we're jumping on that now, and it should be an interesting one. I know our buddy El Goro was talking it up, and he said some smart things about it that we probably won't say. So,
So tune in next week to hear Mari say this is his new favorite #1 movie.
No, I don't.
I don't think anything's gonna top this.
It's gonna have to be pretty fucking amazing.
This is the Bryan Danielson of backwoods revenge.
I mean,
movies.
this isn't just a film that you watch. This is a film that you experience.
This
and
is a
that's
film
the only way that you can.
that
it is.
hits.
It's an experience.
Yeah,
to
that
watch a
hits
film
all
like
the
this.
notes in your book.
It does.
Like he's saying, like the book is
Notes.
noted.
All right, we do.
You know
need
that's not what notebooks mean, right? That they don't have notes in them.
We do need to head to break. This is going to be a short one because we're going to connect up with Michael Gingold right after the break. So, how long until we get back, MZ?
Maybe 1 and 2.
2 and 1.
All right, we'll do 2 and 1. We'll save a second.
So 3. Some other.
The big scary monster haunts at midnight is a collection of dark songs about sex, love, death, revenge, and the end of the world. Brought to you by the world's greatest monster hunting electroshock band, the Deadies. Available on iTunes, Google Music, Amazon, CD Baby, and all other digital distribution sites.
I'm Alex West. And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast. And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
I'm Ruby Burble.
What's up, y'all? It's me, the Yeti. Telling all the ladies that they couldn't be more fine and that we should knock those boots like Frankenstein. When I want to get my nerd on, I go to Facebook and I go to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. That's the place where I get to talk about all the hip new horror movies, all the cool comics,
Like comics.
RPGs, video games, you name it, we're talking about shit on there. And you could not be any cooler if you were the coolest kid in school. Be the first kid on your block to swing their cock over at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search for Trick or Treat Radio, ask to join, and it's like Nerd Nirvana, baby, without the shotgun blast. This is the Yeti, signing out. See you at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group.
Follow us on Twitter at The Deadites, thedeadites.com, and trickortreatradio.com.
right, we are back on Trick or Treat Radio. Thanks for hanging with us through the break. And we are about to introduce our guest right now. And it's an absolute honor to have a journalist, screenwriter, former editor-in-chief of Fangoria. He currently is writing for Rue Morgue and also going to be doing some stuff for the new Fangoria as well. He's also written for numerous books and websites, even written some screenplays. And his latest book just got released, and it is called Ad Nauseum. And I'm really excited to have join us here on Trick or Treat Radio, Michael Gingold.
Thank you very much.
Of course, Michael. Thanks so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with us. We're big fans of your writing over the years, and it's it's an honor to have you on here to talk with you.
Oh, thanks. A pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So the big thing, I want to jump right into this because I want to make sure we cover this because I think we can probably get a lot of great conversation about the book. So could you give people sort of the elevator pitch or the idea behind Ad Nauseum?
Well, it's basically a collection of newspaper ads for horror films that I collected back when I was a kid and a teenager back in the 1980s. I started in 1979 when I was 12 years old, and I just got kind of that collector's impulse where I had to have absolutely everything. So literally every Friday, I'd grab the newspapers and open them up and see what was playing, and I'd just find the biggest ad out of the three papers in New York and cut them out and save them. And I just started amassing this collection, and I just never stopped. I actually was doing it right up until about a few years ago, and newspaper advertising for movies basically became passe.
Right.
But the 80s was kind of a special decade. That's when you saw a lot of the great movies and a lot of really great ads before they became kind of generic in the late 90s when marketing departments discovered Photoshop and everything became a bunch of heads floating over the title.
Right.
And I'd wanted to do the book for a long time, and the title Ad Nauseum just occurred to me one day. I'm like, this is an absolutely perfect title.
It really is.
Years and years later, beginning of 2017, actually, the wheels got turning to make it a reality, and it's thrilling that it's actually out there or coming out. The official on sale is October 9th, but we've been selling it at a couple of shows and conventions so far.
Yeah, that's actually that added to my confusion a little bit. I did see that you're having, because we actually talked a little bit earlier about the Brooklyn Film Festival coming up, and there it looks like you're having an event for the release of it. But I did see that it was that it was being sold at some at some places. So I wasn't sure if it was officially launched, but yeah, I do see that the release date is at least listed here is October 9th.
Yeah, that's the official on sale date. We kind of had our first launch at the Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal in July, and then I had it at Monster Mania in August, and we're actually having a signing event tomorrow night at Forbidden Planet in New York City, and
nice.
A couple other things. And then I'm going to be at the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival because they're doing kind of an afternoon and evening of 80s horror films. So I'm going to do a slightly different variation on my presentation at Fantasia, kind of focusing on the 80s subgenres that each of these movies address. So that's going to be fun to kind of like show off the ads and then people actually get to watch the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a fantastic way to do it. And it is interesting because we're all children of the 80s. That was sort of more of our formative years. And we grew up on VHS and so we can relate to that era of, even just walking through a video store and looking at all the different covers and the box art and everything. It was so captivating. And you're right, like this is a whole different thing as these newspaper ads, because this is a quick little snapshot and it wants to grab you to go out to the movies to see it. So it's sort of a similar idea, but a different take on that. So could you compare and contrast a little bit the differences between, do you think there are similarities or are they different with the box art and VHS versus what you saw in the newspapers for the advertisements?
Well, I think they had to have an even harder sell in the newspapers because, in a video store, it's like, oh, there's a cool box on the shelf. You can just pick it up and rent it. And, back in the days of theatrical release, you had to actually make the effort to go out to the theater to see these things. So they really had to give you the hard sell for them.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of similarities. I think both newspaper ads and VHS box art was a lot bolder than advertising for horror films is now, which is all ruled by VOD. where you have to have an image that looks good shrunk down to a couple of inches on a VOD screen. I've actually talked to people who've had art that they've wanted to use to advertise their films now, and it was too kind of intricate and detailed. Excuse me, and they needed like one large, as large as possible image, so it would still read when it's up amongst a whole bunch of, similar, very small covers on a VOD selection screen.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how times have changed, and you're right. Like, nowadays the art typically just doesn't really capture you the way it used to, and you're right. Like once advertisers found Photoshop or even just this whole like idea of people working for free and or cheap, as opposed to getting the people who are really talented, just to save a few bucks. I think it really diluted the creativity and just the way it was presented. And I think that does a disservice to a lot of films.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you had fully painted posters, which would often get translated into the newspaper ads. Like, Friday the 13th had a really great kind of detailed painted poster art for it. And you don't see that kind of detail in a lot of the advertising that comes around today. Something like Maniac, which has that great memorable painting of, Joe Spinell from about the chest down, holding the scalp and the bloody knife and everything. Yep. And even the smallest companies went all out to get those really good detailed images, because they knew there was TV and radio advertising, but for a lot of people it was opening up the paper and seeing that ad, and who knows how many other movies were playing that day, and they just grab people's attention with that image and make them want to come out and spend the money to go see it in a theater.
Absolutely, and it's a very different thing, as we kind of continue to compare and contrast VHS, because VHS at the time, I mean, depending on where you lived and your store and the era, it was anywhere between like maybe 99 cents and like $4 to rent a movie, and you keep it for a few days. Whereas a movie, you're paying, back in the 80s, I guess it was probably a little bit cheaper, but you're paying probably $7 to $12, and it's more of a time expenditure and more of an investment. So I would imagine that they had to really try to nail those.
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, I remember going to $2 matinees, back in the 80s. It's like that. I remember actually coming home from my first year in college, and prices in theaters in like 1985 and 6 had gone up to $6. Then I went back to the suburbs. I was like, oh, phew, I can still see a movie for $5 or less. That's like, those days are long, long past us. I thought, oh, they'll never get up to $10 for a movie. Little did I know.
Yeah, now they're ridiculous now. Like I remember, I think it's like $13 for most, $11, $12. Yeah. So,
and to think at some point, it's going to be like $20 to go see a film.
I remember I wanted to go see. I'm trying to remember what movie it was. I think it was one of the Annabelle movies. And I went to a theater in New York City, and the only show that I could go to that worked out time-wise was one of these special ones where they kind of rumble the seats and they shoot wind in your face or something. And it was $55. I'm like, I'm not spending $25 for any movie, even if they do like blow rain at me and stuff like that.
Jeez.
Holy shit.
Did William Castle all of a sudden come back from the dead or something?
Showing feel around.
It's like the Tingler all over again, though it probably didn't cost $25 to see that. You could probably take your whole family to see the Tingler and buy some snacks for $25 back in the day.
No kidding. Jeez. That's crazy. I didn't even know that they got up that high, even for those, crazy ones.
Yeah, that's what it is in Manhattan in certain theaters. So, and you can pay for the three, and then they invented upcharging for 3D, which you didn't have back in the day.
Yeah.
Back at the time, 3D movies cost the same as everything else, and that's one of the fun things of going through the ads is like getting into that period when there were all these 3D movies coming out.
Yeah, that must be interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, you have to make that very clear. I would imagine that this is, this movie's going to be playing in 3D.
Yeah, and then they had, each one had to be distinguished by its own brand name. So I think one of them is in Supervision 3D, and then there's like other little brand names, so Stereovision 3D. It's all part of the ballyhoo that they had. It's like, it's not only in 3D, it's in our special kind of 3D.
Right,
right. Separated from all the others.
Exactly, yeah. Are there any that come to mind that were your favorite ads? Maybe it's hard because I know you have hundreds of them that line the pages of the book, but are there any that really kind of speak to you, that really stand out?
Oh man, everyone asks this, and the answer I always give is it's not so much an ad as a tagline.
Yep.
Which was it became a favorite like right around the time I saw it. Back in I think '81, they re-released the original The Blob and Son of Blob, which was the sequel. And Son of Blob was directed by Larry Hagman. And right around that time, that summer, the entire U.S. was in the grip of Dallas mania because everyone was asking who shot J.R. And so on the ad for Son of Blob, they called it the movie J.R. Shot, which I thought was a little tag back then. The other one is there's an ad for a double feature. I think it's just midnight shows of Night of the Living Dead and, as they put it, a different kind of violence, the Three Stooges. So I thought that was and it was
That's good.
because back then, like, they would stuff like midnight movies wouldn't be just something that played at the theater and then that was it. They actually advertised these things in the paper, and they advertised them on the radio too. They would advertise midnight movies with radio spots. So it was really a different era back then.
Yeah, it really was, and like it's weird to even like, because right now, like, the analog, like you said, is like VOD, and there's so much static out there. It's really difficult for. I mean, the great thing is we're living in sort of a great time for movies because there's so many great movies out there, but it is kind of difficult to get through the static sometimes because when you up the wattage, you get more of everything, so you get more crap, and you get some really good movies as well. So it is a little tougher to kind of cut through all that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rise of digital filmmaking means that so many more people are making movies. I mean, there were a lot of horror films back then, but to make a movie, you had to put a certain amount of money investment in it because you had to shoot film, either 16 or 35.
Yep.
And that was some effort. It wasn't like today when you can get a digital camera and just go out and shoot something.
Yeah.
So as many movies as it looks like there were in the 80s, by looking at the book, there's even more coming out now. I mean, for all the coverage I do for my different outlets, I keep a schedule of everything that's coming out horror-wise.
Yep.
And there's literally a movie, at least 2 or 3 horror films every week.
Yeah.
Either going to theaters or VOD or some disc format. And so it gets really difficult to keep up with, and to also kind of separate the good stuff from the bad stuff sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's and that's something that in just kind of programming out this show every week, we do a different movie we discuss, and we typically choose from VOD because it's not easy for us to all get out to the theater, and there are other shows that cover theatrical releases, so we try to hang with the VOD stuff, and also we want to just showcase some of the better ones out there. Like we just discussed Mandy just prior to you coming on board here, and obviously that's a film that's been getting a lot of attention, so it certainly doesn't need our help. But like films like that, and it's just, and there's some gems out there that people just wouldn't know about because there's so many out there, and it's just crazy. And I mean, it's sort of an embarrassment of riches in a way, but you have to find the good ones, and it can be difficult to get through the bad ones too.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the better ones are the ones that get discovered at festivals because
right.
Festival selection committees kind of do a good job of separating the wheat from the chaff, as they say. And so once these movies have been around the festival circuit, they build some buzz, and then when they go to VOD, they have a little more. They're a little higher profile than some of these things that just sort of pop up out of nowhere, and you're wondering, where the heck did these movies come from? And sometimes with fairly major actors in them, like. I never knew that someone like John Cusack would become a VOD debut film regular, but or even Nicolas Cage on some of these things. He was headlining huge $100 million movies, and now he's doing something like Mandy, which has somewhat higher budget and everything than some of the real low rent VOD stuff, but still, it's not getting a big nationwide release. So
right.
it can become tough to tell sometimes.
Yeah, and even like going to like the action sort of films, like even someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger has had a bunch of just VOD releases, and Bruce Willis, and it's crazy to see these stars of the past from the 80s and 90s now like are starring in VOD films.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, a lot of these are movies that would have gotten theatrical release back in the 80s because they're certainly good enough, and without VOD as this easy way to see them. Someone would take a chance on releasing them to theaters. Something like Maggie, which is a great film that Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that would have easily been maybe not nationwide, but certainly a major kind of regional release back then. And it's kind of a shame because I'm a huge believer in the theatrical experience and
Yeah.
these things on the big screen. And that's kind of what the book celebrates, is a time when every Friday you could open up the newspaper and there's another horror film coming out that you could go out to see in the theaters.
Yeah, absolutely. And even our own Monster Zero here on the panel, he actually, I meant to ask him to bring it in, but he actually, not quite as extensive as you, but he kept a scrapbook. Do you want to talk real quick about your scrapbook, MZ?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I only did one volume, and all it really was back around 1990 to 1992, I want to say. I started doing a scrapbook of collecting nothing but in newspapers of artwork of the films that are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
A majority of them really are reviews from the local paper here, and let's see, a couple of other things, just articles on Stephen King and things like that. And
yeah, so just like kind of horror in the paper.
Yeah, and just old clippings cut out from newspaper, and just I like I said, I only did one volume of this stuff, but I really, at that point when I finished one volume, I really intended to do more, but I never got to doing it. I don't know why. I don't know what stopped me, but I just didn't do it. But I still have that scrapbook with me, and and I look, every now and again I'll look into it and I look back and I'm like, yeah, this was the time,
And that was the 90s, and in Michael's book, it's mostly 80s stuff. And so, Michael, you had kept these. I'm curious to find out how you kept these. Obviously, did you keep them in sort of scrapbooks? Did you keep them in file cabinets? Like, what was the way that you sort of stored these?
Well, I basically kept them in files. Just tried to keep them out of the light as much as possible.
Yeah.
Didn't mount them or anything. They were just kind of like, they just sort of piled up over the years. I had a file for each year pretty much. And then it just kind of became a little more random. So when the time came to assemble them for this book, I kind of had to take them all out and arrange them by year and ship them off to Matt, who is my publisher. So, but they were all in really good shape. I was, as a kid, I was really anal about this. I made sure to cut them out very carefully and, preserve them as well as I could. And so, yeah, they're all in pretty good shape, and they did a really nice job scanning them also.
And did all the ones that you kept make the book, or was there a lot that didn't make the book?
There are only a couple that didn't, mostly because they're really more horror comedies than horror films.
Gotcha.
I collected also like fantasy and sci-fi and pretty much ads for anything that had that kind of a theme. So there are a couple of things like, Teen Wolf and stuff like that in there, which didn't really fit the definition of horror. So those went, but it was only, I think, at most about half a dozen that we just decided didn't quite fit the definition.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have in our chat room, one of our listeners, First Time Mike, says, I remember looking at the drive-in film ads in the Milwaukee paper, stuff like Lady Terminator, Fulci films, and the interesting Rated X films, and all stuff I could never see.
Yeah, well, that was part of the thing when I first started is when I first started doing this, I was too young to see these movies. So this was kind of a way of saving a memento.
Oh, yeah.
A movie I couldn't actually go to. And then once I discovered that you did not, in fact, have to be 17 to get into an R-rated movie without a parent at a lot of theaters, I actually, got to start going and actually seeing a lot of these things. But, some of the, especially like in the 70s and 80s, they would put out double features.
Right.
Sometimes of new films. Like there's one, I think, the Hong Kong film Black Magic and a film called The Orphan, which was actually called Friday the 13th, The Orphan, until I think the people behind the other Friday the 13th cease and desisted them and got them to change the title.
Bunch of uptight jerks. Do you have any interesting stories because you said you hit a nail on the head, because for my parents, who were pretty liberal about what we watched, the great, they weren't graphic, but the way that the films were presented with sometimes I remember specifically seeing things like the art for Gates of Hell.
Oh, yeah.
And in my head, well, I'm going to go see Gates of Hell, but my parents knew that was because of the art, something about it, they drew the line. Or I remember something that totally affected me, seeing the art was the Evil Dead skull for Evil Dead 2. with the eyeball and stuff like that, and being like, I got to see this fucking movie. And, obviously not being allowed to. But for me and my buddies, what those papers were, those thumbnails and the thing, were like, all right, we can convince our parents that we're going to see this. But
Exactly.
this is what's going down. And that's how we saw, even if in peace, because you'd and it's ridiculous in retrospect, because my pop would take me to fucking Predator, right? Where people are getting their arms blown off and everything else. But, you'd sneak out and you'd go, watch part of a later era Fulci film or something like that was playing at this big sleazy theater that we had downtown. And it was just so cool. Or you'd see something out of context that would scare or bother the hell out of you, and you'd you have no idea what was going on. But do you have any connection or stories of an ad you saw that you couldn't go see that became a great white whale, something that you're I got to see this fucking movie, and then you couldn't for whatever reason?
Oh yeah, well back in 1980 was when the horror boom really took hold, and there were a few films that I didn't get to see. I remember Mother's Day was put out by a company called United Film Distribution that was based in New York, and they would take out full-page ads in the New York Times for their stuff. And I remember my parents saw the ad for Mother's Day in the paper, and they're like, "There's no way you're seeing." I didn't get to see that till it came. I think it was on cable that I first saw that one, and there were a few others. They would see the ads. My favorite story in that respect, though, was a couple of friends of mine and I went to see Cat People, the Paul Schrader version,
Yes.
in 1982. And we saw it on a Saturday afternoon. We took the bus to the nearest theater, saw it, and then we all went home. And one of my friends told me he went back to his house and he watched Siskel and Ebert's review show that evening, and they reviewed Cat People. And Gene Siskel starts off with something like, "This is a movie about incest and animal lust and sexual arousal." And my friend's sinking into his seat, and his dad's like, "Oh, so is that the movie you just saw today?" Gotta keep a closer eye on your viewing habits, son. We were all 14, 15, whatever.
Right.
But that was right around the first R-rated horror film I saw without a parent was Halloween 2 when I was 14 years old, and so that was an especially memorable night. That's one of my top 5 movie-going experiences of my life, I think, seeing my first R-rated horror film just with my friends without any kind of adult around.
Yeah, that's. I think we all probably remember, that sort of thing. So it's interesting to think back on those moments, and it is especially funny, especially when you saw the Cat People. I'm sure you had no idea, you weren't thinking that, but Roger Ebert has a different take on it, I guess.
Well, we knew. It's some of the themes were pretty blatant in that, though. I did get more when I went back, but I getting a little off topic though. I remember it's really funny. My parents were probably among the few parents who were actually liberal about me and my younger brother seeing nudity and sex in movies, but not violence. Usually it was the other way.
The other way around, right?
Yeah.
So they took me and my brother to see Blake Edwards' 10 when I was about 13 and my brother was 9 or 10 years old. And, you watch the movie as an adult and you see, oh, it's about a midlife crisis. And so we were walking out of the theater and my dad says, "Well, you guys probably didn't understand what that movie was really about." And I said, "We understand what that movie's about. It's about naked people." This was back. Yeah, this was back when you couldn't see. We had just gotten cable. I think that was one of the first times I ever saw nudity in the film. I think Phantasm was one of the other ones. That was the first R-rated horror film I ever saw in a theater, and the first shot is the lady in lavender's boobs, and I was like, 12 years old. I was kind of startled because you couldn't turn on, at least where I lived, you couldn't turn on cable and just see this stuff in the hour.
Right.
It's just so crazy. My parents were just something about the word dead in it. I wasn't allowed to go see Evil Dead, but my dad took me to see RoboCop twice.
Well, that's a mainstream sci-fi film. That's okay, I guess.
Yeah, where Paul Weller definitely got the hell blown out of him, but I wasn't allowed to see green and blue and red foamy blood pour out of a wall.
Serious violence is okay, but cartoonish violence, forget it.
Yeah, it's no good.
It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you did release this book because you right now you're, I think if I'm not mistaken, you're the East Coast editor for Rue Morgue, and Rue Morgue had they had put this book out with you?
Well, what happened was Dave Alexander, who was at one point the editor of Rue Morgue, branched off and he's doing other kinds of multimedia projects. And he had made a deal with 1984 Publishing, and they were looking for kind of graphically oriented horror books. And so he asked me if I had any ideas for that. And I said, boy, do I have an idea. This is something I've been to do for a long time.
Yeah.
So I pitched it to him and to Matt, and they loved the idea. And then, I put these, I think it's about 425, 430 ads in a box and FedEx them out to Matt, crossing my fingers that nothing would happen to the package on the way. And here we have the book. It's been about a year and a half in the making, but I just love the way it looks. Just the design of it, the lettering, everything that Matt and his designers did with it, I'm just so happy with.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it. We're definitely going to get when it gets released, we're definitely going to get a copy of this. And I think, as you said earlier, that if people want, they can go ahead. I think there's a sample on Amazon if people want to check it out.
Yeah, there's about, I think, 20 sample pages on the Amazon listing.
Awesome. I'm gonna pull it up right now here in studio just so we can kind of browse around and check it out. And we'll also make sure we post up the link so people can check that out and pre-order it. And I assume, is that the best place, or is there a preferred method for people to pre-order the book?
Well, you can also pre-order it at the 1984 Publishing website, because I think he's going to be selling a bunch of signed copies.
Oh, perfect.
We're going to be at New York Comic Con also. We're going to have a table there, and Matt just told me, oh, yeah, you're going to need to sign about 100 copies of the book because we're pre-selling signed copies at the 1984 website, too. So I'm going to be doing a lot of signing that day.
Yeah, you better limber up.
Exactly.
So that's great. So I'll find the website for that, and then I'll let folks know where they could find that, because that's a great deal where you can get the signed edition. So it looks like it's 1984publishing.com, and that's just the number 1984 publishing.com, and then on there you can look for the Ad Nauseam signed edition. It's only $30, so that's a great deal right there.
Yeah.
And be signed by Michael, and you can order it right there on the 1984publishing.com website. That's a great deal. And
I am so excited for this.
I know this is right in your wheelhouse.
I am pumped for this book.
I think between the Fangoria cover to cover, paperbacks from hell, and now this is enough that I don't have to fucking leave the house or look at anything else. Like, I'll just go through, and then by the end of the week I'll have to start over again, and then go through and look and just be, happy as Monster Zero in like a Pornhub haze.
I really wanted to make sure that there was also stuff to read in there, which is why I think about 50 or 60 of the movies we also put in some samples from the reviews that I collected back at the time as well, because I wanted to give people the idea of what the critics back then were saying about them. Because
that's great.
If you go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at any movie from the 80s, most of the reviews come from websites that are sort of looking at them retrospectively and looking at them as classics or, famous so bad it's good movies or whatever. And this is what the back at the time were saying about them, and sometimes it's pretty surprising.
Now,
there.
What was the process of getting like the okay to do that sort of stuff? Was that had to be like an interesting like rabbit hole to go down, because
it's really, I think it's fair use, because it's not promoting any one thing.
Oh, right. Yeah. I bet you are 100% right.
Newspaper ads are made for promotional purposes anyway, and the review quotes are only about two sentences long at most. So it wasn't a matter of reproducing anything in whole, and so it was not really an issue. And also, the sad thing is that a good number of the distributors of these films and a good number of the newspapers that are quoted don't exist
anymore. Yeah,
just the unfortunate state of print newspapers today. So
I mean, even
and that's the thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michael.
And I was just going to say that this is really, it's kind of a memory piece of sort of a bygone art. We don't have a lot of newspapers have folded. A lot of the ones that do exist, they all kind of use the same critics off these different services. But you look in here and you've got all these critics from all these different points across the country, and you can kind of see that there are a few of them who actually gave horror a fair shake. I mean, I think he wrote for the Oregonian, who actually gave a very positive review to Lucio Fulci's Zombie. So, that was kind of unheard of back at the time.
Yeah.
and it's really just kind of it's a whole lost art. The newspaper advertising and the newspaper
as just the critics. I mean, we grew up on film critics, and that's not like, you know what I mean. Like the I guess the bad part of the punk rockness of the internet is that there's not that sort of mystique, you know, where you know, as me, you know, you and Chris Alexander and like guys like that, like, are guys who, like, you know, I would pay attention to what they had to say about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, in you know, when I was in like high school and college and whatnot. I'm still in high school and college, actually.
Yeah, right.
But I'm not allowed to be there, so don't tell them. But but like, you know, it's just a real interesting thing that, you know, you also, in addition to putting out this book, like kind of straddled like part of an era in a transitional part of it. If what I'm saying makes any sense at all, which it seldom does.
Oh no, I mean, I spent the first at least several years, maybe more, at Fangoria with no internet. I mean, Fangoria was just print.
Right.
You know, you didn't have the internet as this resource, and there are a lot of really good writers out there online who might not have ever had a chance to really do their stuff in the print world, but at the same time, you know, in the internet, everybody has a voice, and some of them are more respectable and knowledgeable than others. You know, there's some reviews I read where I don't know what I'm reading sometimes. And while I appreciate everyone's enthusiasm, I think that just the quality of writing has been kind of diluted by the fact that everybody gets to be out there and have an equal sort of voice or what's the word I'm looking for? Just a venue to air their stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be. I mean, you've even lost the charm of the fact that like we were relegated to like message boards. You know what I mean? And like there was just a different. You know, if somebody said something on a message board, it just wasn't. You know, you might know them, or you might like come to know that they know what they're talking. I mean, my dear friend next to me, like I remember like being on like the Fangoria message boards, and Monster Zero was like the fucking. He was like the Don. Like,
yeah,
you know what
I remember seeing him there. Yeah,
yeah. He was the biggest poster on the Fango board.
Yeah,
for
and
a
it was
while.
just like fucking ridiculous. But like at the same time, like, and not just because I knew Monster Zero, I knew enough to know that like, you know, this guy hasn't used a comment in like 45 posts. Like I'm probably on listen to everything that he has to say. But
we did have to help edit his Horror Hound retrospective.
Yes, thank you.
It was a retro.
The content was good.
Yeah, he was knowledgeable. Yeah. It was a retrospective on the English language. a disrespective of the English language. Use the super comma.
Well, what can I say? I get help when I get it. You know, I need help when I get it.
It's hard to write through that straitjacket, right? So, but yeah, I mean, it's just like it's cool to, you know. Not only is your perspective from this book great, but like, you know, again, like it's just a different time. Like you talk about those film quotes, but like, you know, there's probably somebody out there that, you know, reminisces about like the stuff that you wrote, and you know, like it's like a you know, a real cool thing that you put this out. It's a real cool thing to talk to you. I'm sorry, I just turned into Chris Farley. Remember Nightbreed? That was cool.
One thing that's been really great about this is, you know, I've been to festivals and conventions, or I just meet people who know the book, and so many people have told me that they did the same thing, that they all collected newspaper ads and kept scrapbooks and things like that. And I'm thinking, you know, because, you know, where I grew up, it was a fairly small town, and I was the only one there who was really into horror as much as I was. And, you know, I kind of found my kinship when I started doing my Xerox fanzine, but it's like, if I had known back then that there were lots of other people, you know, probably around my age who were also collecting these ads, it would have been kind of reassuring.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was really just doing it out of a collector's impulse. At the time that I was doing it in the 80s, I never had a thought that I would one day be kind of showcasing them, because I had no idea that how things were going to change and how newspaper ads would eventually become a thing of the past. It just seemed at the time that this was the way it was going to be, and it was just going to go on forever.
Right. And that you were the only one who cared.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I did a zine called Scaraphonalia,
right,
which I started in early 1983, and through that I found like not only a lot of other people who just loved these movies, but a lot of other people who were writing about them, who were doing zines just like mine.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful book called Xerox Ferox, which kind of surveys the whole spectrum of these Xerox horror fanzines, and I highly recommend that because that's also a great kind of time capsule back to the time when, again, there was no internet. So this is how fans kind of communicated with each other and out there to other fans of these kinds of movies.
Have you heard of that, MZ? Xerox Ferox?
No, I haven't.
Sounds like it's something be right down your alleyway.
Scarafinalia. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I think I might have heard of that. But Xerox Ferox, no, I have not. I have not heard of that.
You heard about that because we talked about it at the beginning of the show.
I wish I had. Though.
That's how you heard about it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But and back to Scarafinalia, it seems like that's sort of what, in a way, put you on the map. Wouldn't you say, Michael? Like, is that kind of what helped you get your job at Fangoria?
Yeah, well, what actually happened was, I would go to the conventions and I would, see Bob Martin there, and I would say, I do this scene. I would love to write for Fangoria, and I was 15 or whatever at the time. And he'd be like, yeah, sure, kid. I mean, he was very friendly. He wasn't dismissive, but again, I was just a teenager, and but then I was actually in college, and I just went to Fango to interview for an internship position, really. But Tony was aware that I did the fanzine, and I had done a lot of writing, and I went back to my dorm, and a few hours later, they were calling me asking if I wanted to write an article for the magazine.
Oh, wow.
The most difficult article I ever wrote for them, because it was with the director of The Seventh Sign, who was one of these people back at the time who was saying, well, my movie is not a horror film, so I can't really discuss it in those terms. There's a lot of the it's not a horror film going around in the
Sure.
But then my second interview for them was with Don Coscarelli on Phantasm 2, and so everything was okay from there.
Nice. Yeah, that's
cool. Yeah, that's perfect.
That's a great second interview to have.
Oh, yeah, completely. And so, yeah, I mean, I was kind of known in kind of the hardcore fan circles for Scarafinalia, but it certainly wasn't nearly as much exposure as I got once I started writing for Fangoria and then joined the staff. So, that was kind of the big time where horror was concerned back then. Because I was a fan. I read it every month. I collected every issue of that. So that was kind of my Bible when I was growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. And when did you first get the job with Fangoria?
Well, I started writing for them in 1988, and I joined the staff in 1990.
Oh, okay. So and you were there pretty much up until the end, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then you were editor-in-chief right towards the end?
Yeah, it's a long and horrible story.
I'm sure it is. We don't need to dredge up horrible memories. If
I'll be writing Fangoria Babylon in 20 years or something, I guess. But
yeah.
No, the bottom line was, I was let go about two and a half years ago.
Yeah. And
very quickly it just went completely downhill from there. And it was a sad thing, man, because that was 7 years of my life.
Yeah.
That was the only place I had ever seriously worked in my life. So it was just sad for myself and sad just to see what was happening with the magazine. But it's really exciting that it's coming back, and it's going to be a really, really beautiful publication. We're doing a launch party for that October 4th at Forbidden Planet. So
awesome.
Anyone in New York who's listening wants to come down, we're going to be kind of unveiling the new issue October 4th, I think 6 to 8 p.m. at the Planet.
Excellent. So yeah, if there's anyone there, especially if they're going to be in town we mentioned the Brooklyn Horror Film Fest. So if you're in town for that, you can probably go to, actually I think the Brooklyn, it starts on the 11th, I believe.
Yeah,
but
the
still,
of Rock and Show.
Go early.
Well, our signing is the first day of New York Comic Con. So if you're exhausted from New York Comic Con, just want to come and hang with the Fangoria gang, you can come down there.
That's really great.
That's a full day right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because this kind of closes a bit of a trifecta for us, because we did on episode 300 we did sort of a tribute to Fangoria, because obviously it's something that meant a lot to all of us, and at the time it had just been announced that it was going to be coming back, so we were all excited, obviously, and we did ended up having Dallas on the show to talk sort of about it coming back and everything, and from everything we know, and we've had Tony on the show before, Tony Tipone, and we did have Debbie Rochon on as well to talk about Fangoria Radio, and you were sort of like the third person we really wanted to have on. So
my Fangoria bingo is pretty much filled up at this point.
Yeah, I think we just won bingo. Yeah.
Well, I do have like a D. Snyder Fangoria Radio bonus round that I need to accomplish, but
yeah, I think he was on Broadway at the time. We tried to get D, but he was on Broadway at the time. So, but but yeah, I mean, from everything we know, I mean, obviously you have a bit of a more of an inside look, but it seems like Fango's in great hands now. And after obviously you went through that sort of horrible time, and I remember all of us were actually furious when we found out what happened with you.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, like us and a lot of the community were furious, and you certainly, I mean, from the outside, from what we could tell, it seemed like a real bad time. But we obviously don't want to dwell on that. But now Fango is back with Cinestate and Dallas has brought it back, and from all intents and purposes, everything we've seen, it looks like it's in really great hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was funny because it was actually kind of a weird timing. I had just gotten back the night before from visiting the set of Halloween for my report coverage, and that was a Friday night. Saturday morning, I get a call on my cell from Dallas, and I had been on a couple of sets of his in New York, and I figured, oh, he must have a new movie he wants me to cover. So then I talked to him, and he tells me he has now completed the purchase of Fangoria, and I was just like, my mind was kind of boggling because I had no idea that any of this was in the works. I didn't think that the former owner was ever going to let it go. And yeah, it's been a real whirlwind. I mean, that only happened this past March that I first got the word. I think it was like March 1st or something. And now, and it's going to be a weird feeling because being with the magazine for so long, this is the first Fangoria in about 26 or 7 years where I will not be intimately acquainted with the content before I actually pick it up and look at it. So I know what some of the stuff is that's going to be in there, but it's going to be kind of a great surprise to kind of look through and see what else is part of the magazine.
Yeah, you could sort of be a fan in a way.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have some contributions, but like you can kind of look at it as a fan in a way for the first time ever, maybe.
Oh yeah,
Since you get on, yeah.
Because I have both Tony and I are back doing editorials for it, and then I did a set visit to Larry Fessenden's new movie Depraved, so that's going to be in there as well.
Oh, nice.
That's Larry's Frankenstein film, which
That's
he's wanted
amazing.
to make.
Oh.
How does he have time to make movies when he's in everybody else's freaking movie? Like,
he's a busy guy. He's he's all over the place, man. But
he's not shaving and getting haircuts. So
well, that's the look. But no, it was just because I've been following his career forever, and as much as I love the stuff he produces, it's like this is the first script of his own that he's directed in a decade, and it's like it's been too damn long, man.
Is that
He's wanted
Wendigo?
to be making a movie every year, directing something.
I'm trying to remember what the last one would have been. Would have been Wendigo? Was it like
the last winter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He directed a movie for Chiller, but that was not his script. That was a job for hire. This is the first thing that he has originated and directed, and I'm so excited to see it. Based on what I saw on set and just based on the fact that it's Larry directing his vision again. So I'm really, really excited about that one.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Super excited to see that. Because like Mars had said, we've covered a ton of movies that he's acted in cameos or bit parts, and but since it's been such a long time since he's actually put out his own vision, we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we haven't. He hasn't obviously. He hasn't made anything since we started doing the show. So.
Yeah, right.
But he's been in almost everything.
Yeah.
In fact, it's been a while since we've reviewed a Fessenden flick. I mean, what's going on?
2 months maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a few really good ones this year. He's got The Ranger, and Like Me was really interesting.
Oh, nice.
And a movie he produced last year called Most Beautiful Island was way up on my top films of the year list. Are you guys familiar with that one?
No, I don't think.
No.
It's really a drama for the first hour. It's not horrific at all, and then that's all set up for the last half hour, which is one of the most harrowing, frightening things I've seen in years. So if you check it out and bear with it, it's called Most Beautiful Island, and when it gets to where it's going, it's one of the most creepy films I've seen in ages.
Nice. Sold.
Yeah, definitely sold.
Yeah. I'm in.
I did see. That's right. I did see The Ranger at the Boston Underground Film Festival. So I do remember seeing that. Yeah.
I'm excited to see The Ranger. It's going to
Ranger.
be playing at an awesome local film festival called the Shawnee Film Festival. So I'm super psyched to check it out.
Yeah.
It's like down the street from us, which is something that if you knew where we were, the closest thing to that film festival is a silo, I think. So.
Where are you located?
We're in Central Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I love it there. I go up to Boston as often as I can. So.
Yeah, someone had mentioned. I think you might have actually been at the Ranger screening at Buff. Were you there for that?
Yeah, that's where I first saw it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I think we probably have some friends in common. Someone that says, "Oh, Mike's here," and so I wanted to see if I could come up and meet you, but I guess we just miss each other. So, but yeah, it was. That's a great film festival too. Buff. They always have some great stuff there.
Yeah. Don't let him off. Johnny Wolfenstein big timed you. He didn't take the time to. He's like, Michael Gingold.
I've seen a lot of great. I saw Big Ass Spider there for the first time. And,
yeah.
Other stuff. And I was actually a juror there one year too, so that was fun.
Oh, nice.
Got to hand out the little killer bunny statues.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great little film festival for sure. So as we start to wind down here, we have I want everyone out there to go. You can go ahead right now, pre-order Ad Nauseam Newsprint Nightmares from the 1980s. Once again, you can get it on Amazon or also on 1984publishing.com. If you go there, you can get the exclusive signed edition. It's going to be signed by Michael, and you know this seems like it's certainly in our wheelhouse, and I'm sure it's going to be in the wheelhouse of a lot of our listeners as well, especially those who grew up on this sort of thing. And as I was looking through on Amazon, I just wanted to call out the Jaws the Revenge ad is amazing.
Oh, I love that. That's the kind of thing you got when people were creative. And for those listening, basically it was a 2-page spread in the New York Times, a whole bunch of kind of fake little headlines, and then the shark kind of tearing up through the newspaper, all these articles about sharks. And there's definitely more imagination and creativity put into that ad than there was into the film. So that's definitely one of the highlights in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that. It really caught my eye. That's great. So, what else do you have going on, Mike? I know obviously you're writing for Rue Morgue, and you got some stuff coming out in the new Fango. Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss or to promote while we have you here?
Well, I also have some stuff coming out in the annual Halloween issue of Movie Maker magazine.
Nice.
For 2 years running now, I've been doing an article on horror cinematographers, and this year I got comments. I got a great lineup. I have comments from the DPs of Halloween and Hereditary and Suspiria and a bunch of the other big horror films this year. Revenge is another one that I thought was great.
Oh yeah, we love that.
Yep.
Also, an article on the top 30 horror film festivals as voted on by a panel of experts. So
Awesome.
I have that Movie Maker coming out in October, and I also write a lot for Birth Movies Death, so I have some stuff coming up there consistently. I'm just kind of all over the place, but this, Ad Nauseam was kind of a pet project of mine for years, and to finally have it out there and to be getting the enthusiasm we have so far has really been gratifying.
Yeah, I bet. Like this, I'm sure it'll be really gratifying to see it out there in the wild, and having people come up to you and ask for you to to sign it and just talk to you about it, because this is it's in a way it's almost like a portable museum. Like this is sort of like an exhibit that you might see in a museum, but you can own it and put it on your coffee table.
Yeah, I just wish that I could put some of the actual ads up in a gallery somewhere, but we haven't been able to work that out yet.
No,
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. Yeah,
nice. We don't want to keep you for too awful long, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask, because it's a pretty cool thing in itself. You've now worked for 1A and 1B of the great horror magazines for kind of like two different generations. I don't want to just simplify it and say what's that like, but do you have I know it's a remote sort of thing, but how much dealing do you have with the staff of that other of Rue Morgue, because I have to imagine that there are a lot of people there that are doing what they do now because of what you did in Fangoria.
I mean, I most of them are based up in Toronto, so
Right.
I don't have a lot of face-to-face dealings with them. But it's, Rue Morgue's been around for a long time too. I remember when it came out, and my first thing was, this competition for Fango, But when I started looking at it, they really had their own sort of point of view on the genre and kind of a different approach to covering that kind of thing. So it's been cool to be a part of that as well, and to be coming back to Fangoria, which also has a completely different mission statement than it once did.
Yeah.
It's not a news and features magazine. It's more of a journal. with like really long, meaty articles in it. The problem with it in its waning days was all the articles were about the size of your average website article, and here the emphasis is on really kind of meaty think pieces and longer stuff. Stuff you have to really sit down and read. And it's a magazine we hope people are going to want to keep in their library as opposed to reading it and then it's on to the next issue.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. This wasn't even planned this way, but the last 3 weeks in a row, we've actually had people who are going to be contributing to Fangoria with yourself. We had Grady Hendrix on last week, and then Preston Fassel the week before that. So it's kind of funny. It wasn't planned that way, but it's sort of all leading up to the release of Fangoria's new magazine coming out in October. So. Pretty interesting that we got to talk to you three. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Is there any social media or anything that you would like to plug before we say goodbye to you, Michael?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter, unfortunately. I'm one of the few people who's still not on Twitter, but you can see my stuff regularly at roomorg.com and every so often at birthmoviesdeath.com. Probably going to have a lot more stuff coming up there in the next few weeks. And I hope everyone enjoys the book as much as I enjoyed putting it together, because it's really a labor of fan love, and it's for all the people who were around back then and who were not around back then, who can see kind of what it was like to be a kid back then and just going through and seeing all these ads every week.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I know a lot of our listeners are going to love it as well. So everyone go out there and pre-order Ad Nauseam, Newsprint Nightmares from the 1980s from Michael Gingold. And Michael, we want to thank you for taking some time to hang out with us. It was a pleasure and an honor for us to have you on.
No doubt.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. This was great.
Absolutely. And if you ever have anything else to promote, we'll definitely keep in touch, and we'd love to have you on again sometime down the road.
Well, I do have a complete collection of 90s newspaper ads, too, so if this one does well enough, maybe we'll do the sequel.
There you go. So everyone go out and buy this so Michael can do the sequel.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, thanks so much, and we'll definitely keep in touch, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
You got it.
Take care.
Take care.
That was cool.
Yeah. Awesome dude, man.
I just want to put it in perspective that, a younger me, if you could go back and tell, 1993 me that guy was going to recommend a movie to us on the phone, my mind would have got blown apart.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, that was awesome.
That was really cool, and I will be ordering this book without question.
For sure.
From one scrapbooker to another, I have to do this.
Again, I'm glad he was nice too, because you worry that people who you admire are going to be dicks, I mean, not everybody's going to be Tony Tapone, the nicest human being on the face of the earth, right?
First time Mike says you guys get the best guests. Thank you.
You can tell Tony Tapone is nice because every once in a while I'll drunk message him at 4 o'clock in the morning and tell him he should watch a movie, and he answers right there. No, I haven't seen that one.
Don't drunk text Tony Tapone.
You gotta watch my friend Carando's movie.
Don't do that.
Here's a dick pic.
Yeah.
Here's a dick pic. No, don't do that.
But yeah.
How do you get shit stains off a toilet cover?
What? Stop.
Wow.
You guys ruin everything.
You guys.
You fucking told this story. You think we're not going to glom onto
No,
that?
not you. I mean, this one talking about shit, dick pics, and, man.
Yeah, but you shit on the toilet seat.
Well, it's all right.
Aries, he shit on his toilet seat.
Really, I'm surprised.
See what you miss?
Yeah, see what
I'm
happens
surprised
when
he hit the toilet and it wasn't on the floor.
It was like
It's better caught him in the act.
It was like a Sunday, though.
The day of the week or the food?
Yeah.
On a holy
Yeah, it was a Sunday night, but it was also like the
The
food.
Mars Sunday.
Yeah, listen, I don't know.
Followed by a Mars Tuesday.
Yeah. Monster Zero has ruined so much for me over the years. I'm surprised I didn't date him.
To be fair, this show maybe even.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No. I don't know if you meant he ruins the show or the show ruined me, but I don't like the drugs, but the drugs like me.
Ooh.
All right, well,
Breathe.
we're gonna skip the second break. Just the way we did it. We have a lot of voicemail to get to. We actually have the most we've had in a while. So, want to make sure that we get to all of our voicemail. I'm sorry, Raven Shadow. You gonna fucking flip out? We're not gonna.
Oh
do
no,
a break?
he snuck out and had a cigarette.
Oh, I know. I saw.
What? Oh
Snuck
no, I
out.
smelled. He tried to be slick and grab his water bottle. I'm going to go fill my water bottle.
I'm going to fill my water bottle.
Even though you have a half full one.
Well, I'm thirsty. I'm cleansing the palate.
It's, Thirsty Thursday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today.
Well,
tonight.
25 minutes.
You are just so full of shit. It's unbelievable.
You're so full of shit.
No,
the
Mars
birthday
is full of shit.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, his toilet seat is fucking filled with shit. Jesus Christ.
See, where's
Big
Aries
pile on his toilet seat.
Was Aries going to smoke now?
Yeah. He's a fucking
I think Ray Shadow's getting jealous. What? Aries gets to go smoke, but I don't.
He doesn't smoke.
Oh, that's right. He gave it up. He's still doing that, huh? Good on him.
Yeah, he'll come back.
See Raven Shadow.
That's
See
not
Raven
nice.
Shadow. Something to learn.
Everyone comes back.
Everyone comes back.
Don't deny your nature.
It's not true.
It does.
It does? It's not. I said it's not true. You said it does.
It does.
All right.
All right. Do you guys want to do a voicemail?
Let's do it.
I don't know by who.
Whoa. You got a censor?
I don't know who is it.
We have a few of them.
All right. So you're mad at me, John. I can fucking tell. I can tell because you had that sound in your voice.
No, because you're an idiot sometimes.
No, you're a little mean to me. You're a little mean to me.
Why am I mean to you?
I don't know. Every like 20, 30 episodes, you have that thing where
You didn't
you're
fucking
mad
know the Cheddar Goblin.
But these are the Aries.
Well,
No, yeah.
he has an excuse.
What?
He's a ranger.
Because he's flannel?
He's the god of war.
Yeah, good.
He's the Goblin War.
The Goblin of War, the Cheddar Goblin of War.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting some voicemail ready here. I guess we can probably. I got a few ready to go. So why don't we hear from? We actually haven't heard from him in a few weeks. Our buddy, Arkham Josh.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio guys, it's Arkham Josh here. Sorry I haven't been in touch in a couple weeks. Things have been a bit hectic, but given this week's film, I really had to buckle down and be in touch, because this is definitely one of those highly anticipated films I know we've all been looking forward to, and I mean, I feel certain that I'm just going along with the general consensus on here, but I'm certain that this film didn't disappoint any of us. This is just fantastic overall. I mean, from the look of the film, to the score, to the acting, to just kind of like the general like character design and the story. I mean, I don't know, this thing is just, Mandy is just flat out an amazing movie. Definitely going to be like top 10 material come the end of the year. I don't know. I don't know what I can say that you guys probably haven't already. It is like some great kind of mashup of like revenge film meets, Manson cult film meets some good like late 60s, early 70s Euro horror. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be, name dropping like Argento and stuff, but I'd say, like, to me, this had much more of a Bava feel to it in the lighting, in the kind of some of the shot selections, especially since there was a lot of, like, augmentation of the sky, either via, like, CGI or what may have possibly been matte paintings. And that was also one of Bava's kind of trademarks in a lot of those films, was having those great skies or like backgrounds that were all matte paintings. So I'm really thinking that he was pulling a lot from the Bava stuff in this. So, I mean, definitely this is clearly a treat. A super high recommend. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. It's just fantastic. Other than that, hey, I hope everything's going really well for you guys. I know you guys are getting all geared up for Rock and Shock and the concert, and I'm sorry I'm going to be missing the bulk of that. Like I said, I'm going to try to make it up to that concert. And I don't know. Hope everything's going well, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.
one thing we got to put over about the Halloween extravaganza, I'm glad he said that, is we're not officially headlining this year. We're co-headlining. And because the stage setup, we're playing second from last. So,
It's probably around 11.
Yeah, so make sure you don't. Yeah, make sure you don't miss us. Because it'd be real disappointing if you come in and I'm totally wasted, naked, and can't stand like in the second song or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be a shame to miss you naked. Wow.
You do miss me naked.
How about that? Yeah. All right. I'm chewing. Someone was going to cover for me. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't say anything.
I wrote a nice song earlier about taking your pants down, touching your bum. Not you in particular, but
it could be.
It's one of my country songs.
Nah, Josh.
Like America, your country?
No, like my country persona.
What is your country persona name?
Waylon Jennings.
Jennings.
All
right.
Yeah.
By the way, I usually don't share this kind of thing, just because it's usually between me and a guest. But after we had Grady on last week, he sent an email and said, "Thanks for having me. I always love talking with you guys. Let's do it again next year."
Yeah.
And he says, "And see you in Plymouth, I hope, on October 4th." October 4th's a busy day. Like, obviously, we can't go to the Fango thing at in New York, but it's also around here in Salem. I think it's the world premiere of Halloween. It's going to be at the Salem Horror
really?
Fest.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah. So I don't know if I don't know if it's the world premiere, but it's like it comes out. It's playing there before it before it gets released. So that's kind of cool. And Grady is going to be in Plymouth doing his Paperbacks from Hell.
How far is
show.
Plymouth from here?
From here, I actually don't. I'm not positive. Maybe 45 minutes, maybe a little more actually.
I think it's.
I'll look it up.
I think it's a while. I think it's a bit over an hour. Actually.
Yeah, it might be.
I'll tell you, that rock is kind of fucking disappointing.
The Plymouth Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like it?
No, I figured it'd have like a giant monument or something, but no, it's just a fucking rock. I think I walked over it.
You didn't walk over it. There's a gate around it.
I climbed over it. I don't know what I was doing.
Did you climb over it like I climbed over that fucking electric fence?
So from here, Plymouth is an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's fairly reasonable.
So yeah, it's actually I didn't realize it was right on the coast.
I'm gonna try to get it off. Like,
Are you
the
really?
The problem with October is that I need to work sometime, right? You know what I mean? Like, so much shit is happening.
The thing is, I work like right here, so I bet for me it's going to be about a little quicker. I don't know.
The bad part is that means I'll probably have to ride with Monster Zero. He always
You
touches
got-
me.
Ride Monster Zero?
You know, he said with. He
With.
said with.
And if he'll bring me, I'll fuck him, whatever.
Yeah, it's fun.
That guy's got nice lips.
I think you guys should carpool and meet me there.
Yeah, fuck for a trip.
Fuck for a trip.
Yeah, I'll take a shot in the mouth. I'll take a shot in the mouth for a couple 100 miles.
I'll blow you, man. I'll suck your fucking dick.
It's like, whoa, where'd that come from? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? I mean, no. I'm your god.
I'm your god now.
I mean,
Out of context, we can say it, I think.
escalated quickly. Like,
I'll blow you, man.
I think you'd be like, oh, okay. Sure.
And we also, speaking of feedback, we also got our buddy Reverend Scott had some nice things to say about the show the last couple of weeks. He says he's really enjoyed the show the last few episodes.
Because I haven't been here.
He says, I didn't hump a table over it or anything, but I really enjoyed the last few episodes a
You didn't
lot.
watch it right.
You don't want Raven Shadow to get jealous.
So appreciate Reverend Scott reaching out and letting us know. He really wanted to see Mandy and give us his feedback because he's been really anticipating this, but he didn't think he was going to be able to get it in time. So if you hear this, Reverend Scott, and I'll also message this to you, is send it to us next week. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film. So let's continue on. I don't know who this. It's from Brad, is what it said. So I don't know who Brad is. Maybe someone we know, maybe someone we don't know, but let's hear.
Hi, my name's Brad. First time listener, long time caller. I just want to know how many movies you can name with a chainsaw fight in them. And which is your favorite? Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Brad. I think we know who that is.
I got some suspicions.
So we actually mentioned the one movie, The Chainsaw Fight, and that was Phantasm 2.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
What, there was a chainsaw fight in that?
Yeah.
Literally,
Den-
it's been 10 years since I've
Dennis
seen
Hopper with the fucking bandolier.
it. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I would say this is my favorite, though, of the ones I remember.
It's gotta be
Mandy.
more, though.
Mandy
Probably
does.
at least 2 more, right?
It's got to be. It's got to be at least 2 more.
Yeah.
So thanks, Brad.
Yeah, Brad, why don't you tell us your favorites?
Yeah. All right, we're going to hear from our buddy Carlito. That wasn't
Hey,
Carlito.
Trick or Treat Radio, this is Carlitos. How you guys doing? I just saw Mandy, and I think it had a profound effect on me. Saw in the dark with headphones on. Everything's all traily and hazy. Whoa! Actually, let me call you back. I gotta sleep this off. Bye.
Oh, shit. That was amazing. Wow. Oh, man. Well, and then Carlitos called us back, so I think maybe the drugs had wore off.
Thank you.
All right, enough of those shenanigans. Carlitos here. Mandy, yeah, I just want to say I really liked it. It was definitely a very visual type film. I would say the plot is basic. It's just, or at least it's a very basic revenge plot. You know, people come in, they wrong a guy, and he goes after him. He takes a little bit of drugs while doing it, and then goes on a murderous rampage. But it had my intention the whole way through, and obviously a big part of that was the visual aspects of the film. A lot of cool visuals, a very metal-looking movie. I mean, not like metallic, but like heavy metal, music-wise, you know. In a way, it kind of reminded me of a, you know how some black metal, I don't know how familiar you guys with black metal. I'm not a big, huge fan, but I do listen to a few bands. But like, there's a few bands out there that they'll put out an ambient album that's more electronic, synthy type stuff rather than the screechy, blast beaty, super fast metal that, you know, that type of style of music is known for. And it kind of gave me that feel, like that atmospheric feeling sometimes when you listen to those albums. And the story is basically just telling about a guy getting revenge for, I don't want to give the details away, but you know, reasons for you guys probably explained already in the review. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I felt. Even with the, especially when that title comes in about an hour in. So, but yeah, I also like the actress who played Mandy. I thought she was really good. And as for Nick Cage, I will say that it wasn't the most Nick Cage-iest performance. I don't know how to explain it. You know, he has that style that he's known for. It's nothing that I haven't seen before, and it is a kind of an over the top performance, but it fits the film, and it's just not anything above that he hasn't done before, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's a good performance in the right film, in the right context, I guess. So, you know, like that scene in the bathroom, I read a review that kind of mentioned that before I watched the movie. And then maybe the scene at the end, he's not acting crazy, but there's a scene at the end where he's driving in the car towards the end of the movie. There's a little bit of that style that he does and bulging his eyes out and all that kind of stuff. But I did actually really like him in this movie. So, yeah. Now I'm going to go now I'm going to go see Beyond the Black Rainbow because I haven't watched that yet.
Do it.
It's on Prime or Shudder. I'm not sure. I have both, so either way I'll be able to watch it. So you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Awesome, Carlitos. Thank you, ma'am. And glad you dug the flick. And yeah, I get what you're saying. It definitely had a black metal sort of vibe to it in a sense, and especially with some of the ambient music, because I believe, I'm not positive, and I forget his name, but I believe the guitarist of Sun O played guitar on this, and they're sort of that style. So yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a metal movie.
Johnny, I just had an emergency that I had to go take care of.
Please don't tell me it has to do with your.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't. And I got the opportunity to get a $1,000 gift certificate to a brothel for Christmas to Michael Ravenshadow.
Thank you.
It's called Bernie and Phil's. I have to go. It's an emergency. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I think his heart will be splintered if I do.
Okay.
Don't judge him.
So random.
That's a weird way to duck out.
Hey, he'll be happy at Christmas.
No, he won't.
I won't be. Yeah. If anything is consistent, I will not be happy at Christmas.
Or your birthday.
Yeah, well, that.
I just usually buy Michael Ravenshadow presents that I want because there's a pretty good chance he's not going to make it to when the time is. So
That's fair.
no,
Wasn't look good for a while.
well, you're going to live forever.
Mars, you're gonna miss all the voicemails.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well, you fucking hate our listeners. I see.
I do. You know what I hate?
You hate corny.
Nah, well, that's
Creepy
one's
girl,
true.
You FTM.
Right. All those are
Pabst.
right. Perhaps I'm fucking pissed at. Know what I hate? My snot falling out of my face
Your
and onto
snart?
the floor. Yeah, my snot.
Snort. Lion-O.
Boogers.
A chew panthro. Oh, Lion-O. My brother.
Those are bad impersonations.
That's
It's
not bad.
Yeah.
That's better than your Hulk Hogan.
You're going down, boy.
See?
Yeah. Not better than my Robert Burble.
Your Robert Burbles is your best.
That's good. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's my best.
What's your best then?
I don't know.
You're Austin Powers.
I got it.
I make corny, Bobby.
I make horny, Bobby.
Or Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees.
That's not
Voorhees.
No.
me. That's actually Jason
No.
Voorhees. Yeah. What are you talking about?
You do a good Jason Voorhees.
No, that's not me. That's the
Yeah,
real
but
guy.
you do a good impression. So I'm saying.
Well, Kevin who?
What? Get the fuck out of here.
No.
You're leaving.
I'm dying.
Corny says, "Night guys, I really like Mandy."
Thank you, Corny.
Awesome.
I'm actually going to meet Corny.
Tim Chuma just popped in. Says, "Boo."
Hey.
That's your boy, Mars. So you leaving?
I fucking love that dude.
Yeah.
I would do just about anything to go. That would be the only reason I would go to that fucking death continent to hang out with those three guys. So
Dane, first Drive Jack and Mark, and Tim Chuma. Yeah, it's a fucking super team right there. That's like Justice League International or Justice League Australia.
Yeah.
All right, see you, Mars.
See you later, dude.
Remember children.
would that thing I say, just somebody else say it.
Tim says, "Bye, Mars."
Bye, Tim. Aries, you should take care of that.
Ooh. That's you.
All right, let's go to the next voicemail. It's from Creepy Girl.
Hi.
Hey guys, Creepy Girl here. Probably can't stay up late for the whole show, so I wanted to give my 2 cents on Mandy.
She's a fine girl.
I loved it. Nicolas Cage was so cool in it. He was sexy in it. And the film was like, it was crazy. It just like, I don't know how to explain it, but like watching it, I almost felt hypnotized or mesmerized, or I couldn't get my eyes off it. It was beautifully filmed. I loved when they were like driving through the long woods, and just everything was so beautiful, and the kills were cool, and Nicolas Cage was cool. Even Mandy was like, it was so weird. She had like no makeup on and so plain Jane, but they still made her like beautiful, and just everything in it was just weird, like freaky, like, I don't know, like an acid trip or something, but not that I would know what that is because I've never done acid, but it was just cool. That's how I would imagine an acid trip, I guess. But that's pretty much it. I loved it. I hope you guys loved it too. I'm going to try to watch for like an hour. Hopefully you'll start talking about the movie by then. If not, I'll listen to you tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, creepy girl. Thanks for calling in. Always love hearing from you. Glad you dug the movie, and yeah, it's very, very surrealistic, and at times it definitely is sort of like an acid trip.
And Nick Cage is sexy. I mean, the way he was snorting up that cocaine on
And-
that broken.
MZ, I got the fucking. You have to do red for Halloween. You need to come in your tighty whities with that fucking tiger shirt and like white socks and blood all over your face. You need to do that.
Man, it's gonna be awfully cold doing that.
Well, wear like some beige tights or something.
Yeah,
you know?
like Robin style. Like,
Robin
like,
style. Yeah,
Robin.
Like Burt Ward.
Yeah. Okay. That's a thought. You know, I know. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah. Do you think was Cage wearing a piece in that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if you you're talking about his hair, I
Yeah,
assume.
yeah.
If he was, then he had a bad hairline.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what his hair looks like now. So.
You know, I just remembered another chainsaw battle.
Ooh.
Motel Hell.
Oh yeah.
Motel
Holy
Hell
shit.
has a great chainsaw battle in it as well.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
Motel Hell. Is this still the best one from Mandy? Would you say Mandy's the best
You
one?
know, I think I'm still going to have to stick with TCM2 only because
TCM2?
of the
Okay.
batshit insanity of it all.
Yeah. I just love when you get the reveal of his opponent and his chainsaw, and it's like I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Yeah. It's a fucking Death Star.
Yeah. Battle station. All right, now let's hear from Evil Coney.
Hey guys, this is Evil Corny. Yesterday I watched Mandy, and I really don't know if I like the film or not, but I do know that the screen in my basement was too fucking big to be watching that movie. Also, I do know that I hallucinated while watching it, and for the last day I've been craving goblin mac and cheese. Y'all have a good one. Evil Corny out.
Cheddar Goblin.
Yeah. What up, Raven Shadow?
What up, Corny?
You too, Mars, Wolfie, Aries.
Well.
Oh yeah, and MZ.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Corny.
Evil Corny out.
And the other one.
And the other one, yeah. All right, I got to fucking show Aries fucking Cheddar
the cheddar
Goblin.
got it. I mean,
what you make fun of
God
him?
damn it, Aries.
The
I'm
cheddar-
sorry. How did I?
Oh, I
fucking miss
almost
this?
went right to it.
Yeah, the cheddar god of war.
That's
So you remember this scene, Aries, right? Big powerful moment.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just slowly going
He'll
through.
be walking into his house.
Oh, he's climbing. No, right after
Yeah,
this.
it should be after this scene here.
All right, we're gonna do it again, just so Aries can see what all the hubbub's all about.
Yeah.
Should I play the audio again?
Yeah.
That's your costume, MZ.
Yep.
MZ, you gotta fucking do that
I
with
gotta
blood
find
on
that
your
shirt.
wrists. Yeah, you need to find that shirt.
I gotta find that shirt.
I love that it's like a baseball tee with a fucking tiger on it.
That could be the show photo.
The show photo?
The-
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. So, I don't know how you remember this, Aries, right?
No.
No?
Yeah, yell at
Did
him.
you walk away too?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
Actually, Aries was over my house. We
I watched.
we were making out
I
at
watched
this
a
point.
different cut or something. I don't
No,
know.
you
this.
didn't. Here it is.
The look on his face.
How did I miss this? Oh my god!
He's vomiting fucking mac and cheese.
Look at the look on Aries' face.
Oh my god! How did I miss this?
It's goblin good.
Oh my god! I missed that.
Oh, dude.
Cheddar Goblin.
I don't know. How did I miss
I
this?
love the look on his face too.
But they all gave me the business because of it. But no,
See, we watched a different cut.
Yeah.
No, we did not.
I didn't have that.
You fuckers. It's goblin good.
Goblin good. The name like Goblin has got to be good.
All right, so
I'm looking for shirts right now that's similar to that.
What'd you do?
You've
Tiger?
convinced me. That's what I'm going to do.
Tiger baseball team?
Yeah,
I think I like
maybe
that
just
one.
do Mandy Tiger
No,
team.
no. That one is the white one, yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
No,
it's got to be red and black.
No.
Oh, and not for the real movie thing, just in general.
No, I know, but I what about this one?
I can see you wearing that.
You think that would work?
I think you need to switch your whole wardrobe into Tiger shirts.
Nah.
Yeah. There's enough of them.
Someone's got to make it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know when or maybe someone's got to fucking make that shirt.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye out. If anyone sees it.
I do like they just keep his alcohol in the bathroom.
Well,
don't you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't you?
Yeah, no. This time I have some in my downstairs bathroom.
You keep it in every fucking room.
Yeah, no. I keep some devil's lettuce down there.
Nick, by the way, Nicolas Cage skips leg day. Look at his fucking chicken legs.
Hey.
Sorry, Rachel.
Nothing wrong with that.
A little too close to home.
I can relate. I wear boxer briefs though.
All right, let's check out our next voicemail. This is from our boy FTM. First time Mike.
Thank you.
Mike, how's everybody doing?
Sorry. Let me start again.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. How's everybody doing?
Good, buddy.
Went to see The Predator this weekend. Pretty good. I give it a treat. Fun monster movie. Wasn't totally what I wanted or expected, but I had a good time. It was $8 for me. It was money well spent. I found some of the concepts they bring in the movie interesting. Some of it I kind of think is weird, but it's ideas that use some of the science to advance the storyline and the idea of the concept of the Predator. I found kind of interesting and worth an interesting conversation if people are so interested. My question for you tonight is, if you had the chance to write a sequel for any franchise you want to, I've asked this question before, but this little twist is, what would the franchise be, and what would you either retcon, go back and change, or give a new reason for, or add to the mythology of the property or movie that you are making a sequel for? Quick question. It's been a long day. Inventory blows, but I got through it, and the rest of the week hopefully is good. This is your boy, First Time Mike, sitting at the kitchen table, wishing you all a good night. Bye.
Thanks, First Time Mike. That's an interesting question. I have not seen The Predator yet. Has anyone here seen it?
No, just Mars.
You didn't see it, Aries?
No.
Okay. So yeah, I can't really speak to that. I do want to see it, but I'm kind of backlogged on theatrical releases. So,
you know what though, with that, I didn't know him, and maybe you guys probably did, but I didn't know that Shane Black was Hawkins.
Yeah.
In the first one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I guess he was.
So he and Fred Decker wrote this one.
Yeah. So that was really cool. And supposedly, he wasn't really an actor, right? He just ended up being around.
I think so. Yeah.
Ended up being in that part of the team. That was really cool.
All right. So to First Time Mike's question, if you were to create a sequel and you could retcon anything, is there a movie that there's something that you didn't particularly like that you would retcon, or it's kind of a tough question to think of off the top of a head.
To retcon?
Well, I've often thought about a sequel. I've often thought about a sequel to Jason X.
Okay.
Well,
you would keep it in space and.
Well, what I think what I always envisioned what would happen, and I always meant to make a story out of this, I just never did, is that I would it would take place right at the end of the first of Jason X, where Jason and the sergeant or whoever that was going back into Earth, and they were going through the atmosphere and everything like that. They were burning up. Well, I've always felt that of course you got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, this is a Friday the 13th film that we're talking about here. That somehow, because of the speed that they were traveling at, they would somehow, or at least Jason would, somehow find himself in a time vortex.
Okay.
Now
Jason
the sergeant that he travels with is dead, so he would find himself in like a time vortex. He would find himself back in like 1955, 1956, 1957, somewhere around there. And I always envisioned the movie take place there. So you got Jason Voorhees in 1957, and I always envisioned like a scene of like.
Are you gonna go there?
What?
I don't know. Continue. I'm afraid.
No, and I always envisioned like there'd be a scene where they're in there's this hardware store, and you see Pamela Voorhees buying like certain implement. You could hide your eyes all you want, fur face, and he would just. There'd be Mrs. Voorhees purchasing all sorts of different sharp implements or rope or whatever like that to start committing the kills that started off in 1957 at Camp Crystal Lake.
Okay.
So, I mean, I always played with that idea.
Okay, you didn't go as dark as I thought you were going to go.
I know where you were going.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking that you were going to have him sleep with his own mother and be his
What?
own father. Oh, really?
He would sleep with his mother. He doesn't sleep with anybody. Who even knows if the son of a bitch sleeps at all?
Okay. Hey, relax.
Well, you
Your
just brought up
twisted
something
head,
so
that is
stupid.
Well, consider the source. So,
to be fair, the script that MZ wanted to do many years ago involved someone also going back in time
and diddling himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
to
but
be
that's
fair,
in a different movie. You can't have that in a Friday the 13th film. That's crazy. That's just nuts, Aries. You're talking crazy. You're talking crazy.
I just thought of one. I think I actually have used this before, so I feel like it's cheating a little bit. But the thing I would retcon is I want to make a Neon Maniac sequel, and I want to retcon that fucking water kills them.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. It's like this amazing, like ridiculous movie, and then the end is, oh, we could have just thrown a fucking bottle of water on him.
Yeah, or swam away.
Yeah, or it's fucking stupid. It's the stupidest thing ever. So I would absolutely retcon that. I would make them fucking badass. I would actually, I mean, there's got to be a little bit of sort of zaniness to them because that's kind of the charm of it. But I would actually maybe make them more menacing, sort of like the bikers in Mandy.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine having like Neon Maniacs are a little bit more menacing, and
You can even explain it where there's some magic spell got them, or someone could conjure them and negated that weakness.
yeah. You could definitely retcon it fairly easily. I'm not sure the best way to do it, but off the top of my head, I think that's the one that I would go with. Anyone else?
You
could retcon Superman 3.
Superman 3 actually is a lot better than fucking
Superman 4. Yeah.
Than 4. Yeah. Think about Superman 3. It has the awesome, him turning heel and straightening the statue of Leaning Tower of Pisa, and the awesome fight in the junkyard.
That's true. That is a good scene.
Where it reveals that Clark is the real person and Superman's the mask. Sorry, David Carradine. And also, he actually not Stas boots with Robert Vaughn's Girl Friday.
Yeah.
And didn't need to fucking lose his powers, okay? He just fucking did his business, okay? I hate that when he has to fucking lose his powers to have sex.
Tom C says Superman 3 is great.
Thank you, Tom C. He likes robot jocks, so he knows.
Rubber
jerks. So what came to mind, I don't know if it was inspired by MZ's time travel thing. Would be an Army of Darkness sequel.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Ash says the words, gets fucked up, but instead...
Die.
Noodle. But he wakes up in 1945 Germany, Berlin, and there's Nazi deadites running amok. So then Ash has to...
that would be interesting.
Save the fucking world.
It sounds like Army of Darkness meets Dead Snow.
It does, yeah, actually.
I haven't seen Dead Snow, but
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
We
you
watched.
have.
Oh, you probably didn't watch it for the show.
Oh, you saw the sequel. We
Dead
know
Snow
you saw.
2.
Oh,
we
wait,
did
maybe
that.
we don't. Maybe you
I
didn't.
don't know.
See
I
the
watched
I
sequel.
think that was during the time that he wasn't watching them all.
Yeah, I might have been drinking heavily back then. But that's great.
Oh, Nick
Sorry,
Cage.
we put the movie back on. We're
Mars
watching
is gonna-
Mandy again.
Mars is gonna be pissed. Oh, this is
Well,
great though.
Mars isn't here to get pissed, so.
See, I'll tell you right now, though, I think this. I want to hear this from the listeners, or at least a listener. Does hearing our reaction, if we're really into something, does it want you to maybe want to watch the movie more? Right? The enthusiasms.
The enthusiasms.
Enthusiasms.
It may make people a little more interested.
Right? Right?
Yeah. I'm a little pissed that they ruined that perfectly good truck.
I know, right?
I love that truck.
Enthusiasms.
Enthusiasms. So, Tim Chuma says, I was scared of the robot lady in Superman 3 when I was younger.
Oh, forget about it. That's
Played by
fucking terrifying.
Played by Annie Ross, who can be seen in Basket Case 2 and 3. And playing Throw Mama from the Train.
Oh, man.
Is that who she is?
No, it's not her. No,
it's not her.
That's the first thing I think
No.
of when I think of.
She's the one in the classroom who I think you're vulgar. I think you're a pretentious little shit.
Yeah.
Her?
Okay. Yeah, she's great.
So, and Tom C
Yes,
says, same here. That robot lady was freaky shit, man.
Oh, forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that in the theater, and I remember I was scared to death of her.
Yeah.
And I also remember all the kids going, ew,
Yes?
when the acid started turning all goopy.
Yeah, it was fucked up, man.
And everyone started going, ew. And I'm like, what is everybody going ew for? It's acid, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, no. Not
So,
perfect.
Raven Chat, what was what you were actually going to say? Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, we're all sorry.
Superman 3.
Oh, I thought I said it. The Armored Darkness thing.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I interrupted, and then I interrupted myself. Aries, do you have anything?
No, sorry, nothing pops into my head.
Dynamite dropping.
I mean, as far he asked, I
Punch
didn't
him.
interrupt.
Punch him.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Punch Monsters there. Ow! I felt kind of good.
He's like the girl from boarding school.
A sequel to Cheddar Goblin.
Hit me again.
The
All right.
sequel.
I mean, as far as just a straight up sequel, I would have loved to have seen is Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You could probably retcon some stuff in that. But yeah, it's a pretty perfect movie.
Big Trouble in Little China.
What are you gonna retcon?
No, it's just make more of them. Just Jack
They are. The Rock, man.
Yeah.
It's a sequel.
Yeah, it's a sequel, not a reboot.
It's not a reboot.
That's true, but so is he?
He's not Jack.
He's not Jack.
No.
He's not son of Jack, right?
He
I
might
have no
be.
idea.
That'd be weird.
I'm sure he'll have the Pork Chop Express, though.
That'd
Maybe.
be cool.
All right, we have one more voicemail. Let's hear from Dynamo's legitimate son, Pabst.
Hey guys, it's Paps just calling in this week. First off, want to say I'm really fucking bummed that I can't make it to the Masquerade Halloween extravaganza this year. I was really looking forward to it, but sadly it is the same night that I am going to Salem to see a double feature of Suspiria and House of the Devil.
Nice.
You can watch them on Blu-ray.
Awesome, I had tickets to that long before I heard about the Deadite show. Sadly, it's something.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things that, and I'm not critiquing, but the club didn't want to talk about the next Deadite show before the Deadites '93 show happened, and it really fucked us in terms of some people not being able to go. So that's unfortunate. So it wasn't up to us, Pabst. I totally understand, and we're sorry you won't be there. But you can always watch us on Blu-ray, man. They're not going to be 35 millimeter
Come
prints.
over to my house. Bring
They're
them
gonna
over.
be
We'll
digital.
fucking
Yeah.
party afterwards.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You got an invite.
Yeah.
All right, let's listen to the rest of Pabst.
That we're doing for my fiance's birthday. Her birthday is the night before, so fucking sucks, but it is what it is. We're gonna be going to Rock and Chuck the next day though, so we'll definitely see you guys there.
Great, cool.
But holy fucking shit! This movie, oh my god, Mandy was incredible. Mandy might be my favorite movie of the year. This
Wow.
was probably the greatest role I've ever seen Nicolas Cage in. He was just outrageously good. And this movie was a fucking cinematic beauty. It looked incredible. It was so fucking stylized and just fucking beautiful, man. I loved all those like title cards for kind of the sort of like 3 acts of the movie. I thought it was really fucking cool. I read somewhere that the weapon that he makes was inspired by the Celtic Frost logo. I thought that was really cool.
That's
The
amazing.
score was just fucking incredible. It was so good. I thought it was really cool that I don't remember which guy, but one of the guys from Sun, contributed to the score. I don't know if it's the same guy from Sun who contributed to Devil's Candy, but either way, I'm not a huge fan of those guys, but I really appreciate what they do. I mean, drone's not really my thing, but fuck yeah, good to see them. Contributed to sick movies like those two, and dude, Mandy is just so fucking good. Like, I've been raving about it to anyone who will listen to me. I'm sure people are fucking sick of listening to me talk about it. Like the fucking bathroom scene where he's just fucking screaming and guzzling that fucking bottle of vodka. Oh my god, it was just, that movie was fucking incredible, and I goddamn love it. Oh, fuck yeah. All right, guys. Really looking forward to, listening to the show a little bit tonight. You'll definitely be in the chat room. And, yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. I'm looking forward to it, and peace.
See you, Paps. Thanks for
Yeah.
calling in, man. Glad you liked the movie so much. And
Oh man,
we're watching watching the scene right now where one of the bikers was doing a ton of cocaine.
watching porn.
Watching porn. That's like
That's a frustrating hour and a half. Like, dude, that really,
What porn is he watching, MZ? What's the title of that one?
yeah, don't you?
Oh, that was
It's something or other, volume 64.
yeah. Brunhilde takes the broom or some fucking weird shit.
He's got fucking cocaine all over his face.
I love the realization
That's
too,
gross.
where he's like fucking
I used to
Yeah,
be an
no, he's into
A-lister,
it.
man. Look at him.
And that's one thing. So we did
God
talk a
damn
little
it.
bit about the score early on in the discussion, but I'm glad that Paps brought it up again because it's a really amazing score. And by the way, it's out on streaming services. It's available on Apple Music, Spotify, or you can just go ahead and buy it as well. It's a really great score.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, the other. By the way, Tim Chuma said he likes to hear our reactions.
Oh, here we
Thank
go.
you, Tim.
Here we go.
He's from Australia. He knows.
Oh yeah, so he
That's a fucking.
he took a broken piece of glass that was like 2 inches long,
That was a fucking Sam Kinison line, right
filled
there.
with coke,
Yeah.
and he just fucking snorted as much as he could off of it.
Holy shit.
That's fucking impressive.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see it is the Celtic Frost fucking logo. Holy shit, good call. It definitely looks like it.
That's a lot of coke.
I love when he does the when he dips his finger in the fucking mason jar. Look at all the takeout, fucking takeout boxes, fucking soda bottles.
To the fucking Dreadnoughts Hotel.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, God damn it.
So we got a couple tweets. IFC Midnight actually tweeted out about our review of What Keeps You Alive and says even more rave reviews for What Keeps You Alive from the Deadites. In select theaters on iTunes, Amazon, Xfinity, Get Spectrum, and all other VOD outlets now. And then they linked right to our episode. So
Thank you, IFC Midnight.
yeah, thanks to IFC Midnight for doing so. And actually, we just got retweeted by Remorg tonight for tonight's episode too.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool. So thank you to Remorg. And then also we have DNA Patrol is the Twitter handle, and he says watching Mandy and hating.
Oh, here we go.
You just interrupted me, man. Oh yeah, here it is. So what? It looks like glue, right? Or some sort of
I don't know.
gloopy.
It's gray, whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, it is.
Of all the things in that
I know,
apartment or
yeah,
house,
shit that he picks up.
Why would you lick any? I mean, the coke I get, fine. I totally understand that.
Well, I guess when you're on coke, you do this sort of thing.
You don't.
I fucking love that when he just as
Oh
soon as he
my
tastes
God.
Yeah, we got to figure out what that is because I need it.
I could use it. Yeah.
I got a meeting tomorrow at 9. I could really use that before I go.
Raven Chat, watch the last hour of this movie before work again tomorrow.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I was
You
fucking.
should do it every morning.
It was very surreal this
Yeah,
morning.
Yeah. Did you walk into work and just want to fucking kill everyone?
Well,
actually, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, let's not.
That's not a good thing to say.
No. It's fun loving.
They're fucking huge.
Yeah.
Very happy.
All right, so let me read this tweet from DNA Patrol. It says, watching Mandy and hating it. Not looking forward to hearing the Deadites tell me why. This is one of the best movies of the year.
Oh, wow. Haven't heard a bad review yet until now.
Who said
No, DNA Patrol. Actually, Jakey didn't like this. Jakey Poo didn't like this movie, really. No. So I tweeted back at him, and I don't know if I can see the tweet.
I mean, it is, to Ari's point, it is a little bit slow in the beginning.
I said, it's like you know us. Actually, I'm curious to see what everyone thinks about it. I'm not sure it'll be a slam dunk for everyone. I actually wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it would be a slam dunk for everyone, but apparently it was. So I was wrong. DNA Patrol, we all did love it.
I wouldn't say slam dunk.
Well, slam dunk in terms of that it would be a treat.
Oh, that everyone.
That everyone would like it. Yeah, I thought that there might be a dissenting voice maybe here or there, but...
I wanted to be, because I knew everyone was going to love it. Because, I love to fight, but...
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I just couldn't.
Yeah. So, yeah, DNA Patrol, sorry, buddy. You
the
can hear
Goblin put you over the top.
Yeah, you can hear us talk about why it may be one of the best movies of the year. There you go. But hopefully we explained why we thought so and made some sort of sense. But you know what? Like if you don't agree, man, I'd love to hear your take on it. Send us a voicemail or even just an email. Whatever you want to do, or even just a tweet. Podcast at trickortreatradio.com, or just tweet at us. I'd love to hear your perspective, because everyone comes from has their own opinions, has their own perspective on things, and I would be curious to see, because this is sort of like a genre film fan wet dream in a lot of senses, So I'd be curious to see what it was that people didn't like about it, and just to try to hear that side of things, So cool. So, well, thanks for tweeting at us regardless. And you know what? Like, even if it was a little adversarial, maybe, we like it all. Whatever you guys want to say to us, say it. Even if you want to make fun of Raven Chat.
Be nice about it. Be nice. Maybe say, hey, attaboy.
Attaboy.
Maybe complimentary.
Attaboy with the table last week.
Yeah, listen.
Listen, what?
You guys are fucking confused.
We're confused. Oh, we're confused.
You are confused.
I think you were confused last week.
I'm not confused last week. Or this week.
All right. See if there's anything else. I thought there was something else I was going to mention, but maybe not. Maybe not.
Johnny, can I just show something off real quick?
Sure.
I bought this today. And
what?
in some circles, it apparently broke the internet for a little while.
Oh, it's the Batman.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I did want to talk about this. Oh, yeah. Cool. You got it. Okay.
Yeah, I picked it up today. It's pretty rad. I didn't know it was this size. So if you don't know,
it's like magazine size.
Yeah, it's part of DC has a new initiative called Black Label. And it's essentially it's the HBO version of their mainstream titles. I mean, obviously there's Vertigo, but it's just kind of that little harder subject matter, and it's cool. Basically, it's out of continuity. So it leads off. I believe the first book is the Joker's been killed, and Batman doesn't know who did it. He doesn't know if he's done it. He's racked with amnesia. He has some memory loss. So with the assistance of John Constantine, trying to help him get his mind on track. But it's written by Brian.
Oh, Constantine's in this?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I definitely gotta get this.
It's really cool. I mean, the art, it's written by Brian Azzarello.
Who I love, and Lee Bermejo did the art.
Yeah, he did Lex Luthor, Man of Steel, and also a Joker graphic novel from a couple years back.
MZ! Hello!
What?
I'm showing you this. Showing you the art. Do you care?
Yeah.
Do you want to see
Transformer? He doesn't care.
Do you want to see Batman's Brajol?
So a big thing that happened is there's a scene where Batman.
Oh, this is the one, huh?
You see his bat pole, and slow it fucking down, internet. It ain't that fucking. It ain't like he's fucking. It ain't fucking Tim Vigil in Faust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constantine looks awesome.
It was awesome. Super cool. I mean, I'm a super mark for that. But he's all fucked up. He comes home, takes his suit off, and he has his little Brajol hanging out, and he's a big butt shot. kind of like a Mel Gibson movie. But
So I mean, it's just for headlines, right? I mean, why else would you?
Yeah, why would you do this?
maybe, but I mean, there's been lots of times. There's been, from the female characters, there's some mainstream issues that had shadows of nipples. I've seen.
Yeah, I guess that makes
Is,
sense.
is that one of the new Bat titles? Shadow of the Shadow of Nipples.
Batwoman, Shadow of the Nipple. I'd fucking buy that one.
Shadow of nipples.
DC, give us a call.
You can have that one for free.
Thank you.
Well,
yeah.
maybe not for free.
But if you see it, you're like, that's fucking not it at all, man. It's just.
I mean, well, I think probably part of it is so that the next one they can show Wonder Woman naked and go, well, we did it with Batman. Now we can, it's,
I'm fucking hoping.
Equal with the sexist type of thing.
I mean, it is sexy. But, yeah, I mean, I haven't read it yet, but it's really cool. I think they're doing other characters. I mean, it is larger size, so it's frustrating for some people who it's not going to fit in a long box. Ooh.
Or a dong box.
Or a dong box. But I wonder, though, I mean, the way the art's done, Johnny's looking at it now, you can definitely
gorgeous.
see
It's gorgeous.
It's widescreen, right? It's.
Yeah, no, it really is. Oh, here it is. Yeah, barely.
You know what I mean?
See? Want to see his brajol?
Yeah, he does.
Here, look at it.
That's the big deal.
Use your hand. Right, see?
Bring your hands. Look at it close.
Yeah, what the fuck? You need a fucking sippy cup and a fucking. What's wrong with you?
That's the big deal. Give me a break.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's. You guys fucking. You guys like monkeys.
It's
Use your hands.
it's pretty nice.
It's nice. I mean, yeah. I mean,
Pretty nice.
ain't no stack of dimes.
I wouldn't kick him out of bed.
Yeah, it's a fucking dark. It's a
Stack of dimes.
It's a fucking dark
It's a,
night,
it's
sir.
a march of dimes.
It's like, all right, Robin, before you take your initiation.
He's definitely a shower.
Oh yeah, well,
unless going out fighting crime is what does it for him.
he's got a hard on for justice. But it really isn't that big of it. I can't even see it from where I'm sitting. And how close am I to you?
Yeah.
And he's really looking.
Yeah, they really shadowed that up.
And these guys are really looking right now.
You want to see Clark's brajol?
Seen it. Drew it.
I wonder what that looks like.
It's fucking big,
Yeah.
dude. What the fuck you thinking?
Got green balls and everything.
Nah, man. No, he's like
Kryptonite balls.
Yeah. No, he's like fucking Peter North up in there.
The art in this is fucking awesome.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's out of continuity, so I mean they're gonna keep the important stuff. They might play around with things, but it's really kind of cool. I don't know how many.
Oh,
they're
it's
doing.
to be continued.
Yeah, I mean it's only.
Sorry, I didn't want to show you the last page.
Sorry,
Hope
thanks.
you didn't show it to you.
Glad I fucking bought it. I guess so. Good. But it's $7, which really is the price of 2 regular comics. But I mean, for $7, you kind of it's pretty fucking cool, right?
Yes.
The artwork looks
yes.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of neat. So check it out. Batman the Damned. Oh, Batman just damned.
And speaking of DC, I'll just mention this real quick. DC Universe launched their streaming channel, which I subscribe to.
Really?
And yeah. So they had a deal. I like DC, and I want to see them succeed. And I figured that I'd help support this initiative. And so if you bought a year subscription, you got 3 months free. So and it was like you get it at a discount. So you pay, if you buy a whole year, it's like $75 for. So basically, you get 15 months for $75. So if you break it down by month, it's a pretty good deal. So they have all of the TV shows, all of the animated movies that I can tell. I mean, I didn't go through and look for every single one, but it looks like it has all of them. It has how many seasons were there of the Batman the Animated Series? Do you know offhand?
It started. I want to say I was in.
There's a lot, right?
I want to say 92, maybe 92, 93. I think 92, and then it had different incarnations because it went from I think Fox to whatever the WB was at that time. It changed networks. It definitely changed networks.
WB.
Yeah, we're not racist. Because they even changed it. It kind of whatever network it went to, it got darker. They even he lost the oval. And even some of the villains got a little more spookier.
Original network, Fox Kids.
Yeah. Maybe 8 years? Am I right? 8 years? I'm saying 8 years.
Okay, interesting. So, yeah, because it has 3 seasons, but it looks like the Batman the Animated Series, the initial sort of incarnation was only 3 seasons.
But then it got paired with, but then it jumped ship
Yeah,
different
yeah.
network.
So I think, was it called the same thing, Batman the Animated Series?
I thought it was, but then it later got packaged as a Superman Batman like hour.
Yeah. So, anyways, it had 3 seasons of that. So I wasn't sure if it was the complete run, but it has Justice League Unlimited. It's got Super Friends.
Yeah.
It's got all the awesome stuff, and it's got a lot of the DC movies, the newer ones.
No, there's more because that's still he's still in the Oval in
Okay.
that suit.
All right.
But
it's got a lot of cool stuff. So and also you can read comics, and I have it set. I do it on my Apple TV. I could also do it on my iPad, but it's actually pretty cool. Like, it's a kind of an interesting way to read comics. You just use the Apple TV remote and you swipe, and then it zooms in on the panel. You can read the panel. It goes to the next panel, next panel, next panel, next panel, and when it shows all the panels on the page, then it shows you the whole page, so you can look at the whole layout of it. So it's actually kind of an interesting way to watch it on your TV, or read it rather, not watch it. But
and there's 3 original shows coming down the pike, right?
Yeah, there's Titans, there's Doom Patrol, I think, right?
Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing.
And Swamp Thing, yeah. So I'm actually looking forward to those. I wanted to see them do more of that stuff. So I figured, what the hell, I'll just get it and give it a look. And so far, I mean, I haven't really dove in and checked out too much, but just kind of was playing around and looking to see what they had, and it looks pretty comprehensive. So
cool.
So good on them. But it didn't have like the newest movies. Like, it didn't have Justice League, didn't have Wonder Woman. Not that I really care that much, but there must be some sort of rights thing where they can't put it up because they probably sold the rights to other streaming networks or something like that. So I don't know what the wait time on that thing on that kind of thing will be when a movie comes out digitally, when it'll show up on there. But
because are those even on Netflix right now?
I don't know, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure. So
and it's like Netflix, where you can like watch episodes whenever you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So all right, well, I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered a lot of ground. We talked about lots of Bat Brajol and some other Brajol and Mandy.
Yeah. There was definitely some. We didn't talk about the nudity.
We did a little bit. Yeah,
holy Brajoli.
Holy Brajoli. And
fuck this guy too. Shit.
Oh yeah, this was pretty fucked up. All right, let's say goodbye, MZ.
Arrivederci, douchebags.
Aries.
Remember, kids, dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. It's innovative.
It is. Is the innovator of violence right there. Raven Chatham.
The innovator of silence normally, but this is exciting.
That's good. I like that.
See, we played off each other on that one. That was good. Live fast, love hard, die with your mask on.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for episode 321 of Trick or Treat Radio. Big, huge thanks to Michael Gingold. Yeah. It was awesome talking to him. He's sort of been kind of a dream guest of ours, and someone who's like done a lot for horror, and he's absolutely a horror icon. And it was a pleasure to have him on the show. Everyone go check out his book, Ad Nauseum. Pre-order it now. You can get it on Amazon or also on 84 Publishing? 1984 Publishing. Yeah. So give that a look if you want the signed copy. So go ahead and take a look, because I think a lot of you guys will dig that book. And next week, we're going to be doing Ghost Stories. I know Martin Freeman is in that. I don't know who else. But we're going to check that out. It looks pretty interesting. So if you guys want to play along at home, it is available on VOD, and it just came out on DVD and Blu-ray as well. So you can check it out, watch it, let us know what you think. And if anyone has any other thoughts about Mandy, people, if you hated it, if you loved it, let us know. I'd still love to continue the conversation, because I think we can probably get a lot more out of it. There's more. I'm going to watch it again. I think I'm going to watch it with T-Dog, because I think she'll be able to decipher a lot of the hidden stuff. No, we tried to watch it together, and we just had so much going on, we couldn't watch it together. So it also, I did Hossman on Monday, Patsy's podcast last night, this tonight, so I haven't really had time. So, well, that is it for 321. Thank you to everyone who hung out in the chat room. Thank you to everyone who contributed, and everyone who listened to the podcast. You guys are awesome. See ya.